Damn it. Hello, my Teaserking family. I hope everybody is well. I hope you had a nice weekend. We did. The Super Lock won, 25 unit, Old Mississippi State over with the Detroit Lions minus 2.5. And they had a weak defense and they look good. When they play good defenses, Minnesota, Green Bay, KC, they get pressure, they can't run, they're a different team. Washington can't do that. So the key is for most of these teams, it's who are they playing? And the better defenses will result in this game. We had a few weird games yesterday. Brissett fumbles twice for touchdowns. There goes my under. In the Jet game, you had a punt return and a kick return. How do you factor that in? Well, it's very difficult to factor that in. That's the problem with it. So that's just betting. Now, I didn't play the Cleveland Jet game. I did have the under in the Arizona game. So I hit the Denver game. I hit the over in the Tampa, New England, because I didn't trust Drake May and Baker can score. I had the over in the Ram game. Won that, had the Lion game, won that, and lost with the under in the what was that? Seattle game and the under in the Houston game. And then the other loser was Buffalo, the free play, which I can't explain. Yeah, I know. If you're good enough to beat Mahomes, how the hell do you lose to Miami? And I looked, and there was 3 or 4 turnovers, the turnover on downs, which is another turnover. I think the coach should be fired. I don't think that you're a good coach if you can't beat probably the worst team in football, or right up there with New Orleans and Tennessee. They're fighting for first place. They're now 2 games behind New England. They're fighting for a 1 seed, and you just beat Kansas City. And no, you're not that good. This is why this is what, first of all, why you don't bet your whole bankroll on one bet. Right? That's your first. That's your indication. That's how hard this is. And the reason it's hard is because these teams are so bad. The coaching's so bad. They're so inconsistent. I was going to lock Buffalo, and something told me not to. And so I didn't lock them, and I locked the Lions instead because the Washington's defense sucks. But when you get to Buffalo, how can you explain that? Detroit went to Washington and won. Miami's got a 27 defense. Not a problem. What the fuck's going on? And see, this is where you doubt that it's real. And, I see too many players going up to the players on the other team and helping them up and patting them on the back. And, it's not really good. There was one call on Lamar where the Minnesota guy sacked him. And, he kind of lands on him, and they called the penalty for like landing on him with his body weight. Well, that's not what the penalty is. If you wrap them up and tackle them, you're going to fall on them. That's not a penalty. A lot of the penalties, you don't even know the rules anymore. What's a catch? The guy catches the ball. It's pretty obvious. He caught the ball. He has to take 3 steps with it now, and the guy can knock it out, go after, strip the ball, and it's incomplete. No. He made the catch. You throw me the ball. I caught it. Okay, that's it. I don't have to take 20 steps to prove I caught it. So you have a lot of bad rules that nobody understands. The whole kickoff system just sucks. They're doing what Vegas is doing. I have a video I saw on Vegas, how these billionaires are the ones really responsible for ruining it, because they missed the whole point. They're making, like as I said, a whole different market, but it's going bankrupt, and the bankers who bought some of these who want rent aren't going to get rent. I'm going to default. I got no revenue coming in. Where do you want me to pay the rent? So everybody's going to go broke here. The people that bought the casino and are charging rent aren't going to get their rent, just like a bank. A bank loans you money for your house or your car, and that's what they need to make money with. And if you don't pay, if you don't pay them, you default. You're toast. I know I'm running to many different levels here, but what the fuck? It's my class. Real quick on gold. Gold's back to 40.91. It got over 41, which I was excited at about 8 o'clock. And then it started going down. I said, oh, well, it'd be the 10 o'clock drop and then it'll go up. And it went up a little, but now we're back to, this shall be back to 41, 4,200. Silver, nice to see. Big move, $50 silver. I hate when you see Andy Scheckman or these other idiots. Oh, this will happen today, and now gold's going to go, and it's going to go this week. And they're so full of shit. The banks run everything, but they run it all poorly. They caused 2008 with this whole thing. I was watching something on derivatives where it's the most fucked thing I've ever seen. A derivative is, I'm betting, let's say I bet on, I bet on the Lions yesterday, and then you bet on my bet, and you said that I'm going to win my bet, and somebody else said I'm going to lose my bet. Those are what derivatives are. They're not even making the bet. They're betting on me making my bet. It's insanity. What is that crap? So it's a lot of leverage, the 100-to-1. But like they're doing interest rates and they're doing inflation and they're doing all this other stuff, and they're all going to lose at the end of the day. So, but the problem is the government won't let it fail because it's all banks doing this, but the banks are going to fail and they can't bail them out this time. And they got to raise interest rates. That's why Trump wants the interest rates lower, is for these derivatives at the banks. No, for no other reason, not because of inflation, which they don't even understand. All right, where was I going to go? I just talked about 6 subjects at the same time. I apologize, but I talked about Vegas. I think it was maybe Vegas anyway. No, I think I was going here. So we'll go through football, then I'm going to show you this video. Here's a quick Egon one.
We call gold nature's money. It's the only money that nature has created, and silver to some extent, and therefore it's the only money that has lasted. All man-made money has gone to zero without fail. Just think about that. People who think that crypto or Bitcoin is going to take over the monetary world, let's wait 5,000 years and see where Bitcoin is then. We call gold nature's money.
All right, first of all, gold's not nature's money. It came from, I guess, asteroids. I mean, if you watch Money Heist, Tokyo explains it just asteroids came or whatever with gold. So it wasn't created. It's not nature's money. But all the man-made money, the reason it doesn't last is they keep printing it. And it's not backed by anything. If it's backed by gold, it survives fine. But you need the gold to survive it. But it's gold. All right. So let's see. All right. So we're gonna play this one later. How these billionaires destroyed, and it's very interesting. And I'll give you the capsule of it, is that the billionaires are doing what they do to make their billions on Wall Street. There's no business model. There's no, hey, you know what? Like the mafia, hey, we'll have cheap drinks and we'll bring people in and they'll lose all their money gambling and we'll make money out of it. But that's not what they're doing. They're kind of doing these, well, let's buy it and then we'll charge them rent. Who are you charging rent? Who's stupid enough to sell maybe it was after COVID where they sold their casinos to BlackRock and Vanguard, and then they turn around and charge them rent. And they're like, well, we're going to get our money because of rent. Well, you're not going to get your money. It's just like a house or car or the real estate problems with the commercial businesses. I own the Empire State Building, but I have no. I'm going to just get money from my renters until there's no renters because there's no business. Then what happens? You go broke. So these are like acting as banks, and that's why they're so tight and they don't understand a market. And it's funny because these guys are kind of wealthy. Where I don't know, they must be criminals. I don't know where they're getting their money because they don't understand anything about business or economics. So they're taking the human element out of it. We're going to we're going to charge for parking and charge for the pool, apparently $40. But I think it's for the chair. I don't know if it's for the pool. It's like when we went to Italy, and the chairs I show you and some of my thumb nails. Here, I'll show you. So when I'm here, so it's like these lounges. God, the rocks hurt. You have to keep your shoes on because these rocks are really hard. But it's the chairs. It was 20 euros a day. So 20 for me, 20 for Jenna, 40 euros to rent. And I think that's what they're doing. Now it's a big difference here. Now you didn't need to. You could have had a towel set on the rocks and hurt your butt, but if you wanted a chair, it's $40. So I assume that's what they're doing there is saying if you want a lounge, it's $40. Now again, it's not appropriate. It's where are you? You're in Vegas. You're not in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, where you could do that. Different places would require different things. So in Vegas, you're not trying to do that. You're not trying to charge for parking. Like I said, it's like going to Kroger's. You park, you go in. Oh, now it's $20 parking. I won't go to Kroger's. What do you mean charge for parking? No. This nobody will pay. Nobody will be in the store. And so that's what happened. These guys started to look at it as a cost center, as a profit center. Oh, we can charge more for food and buffets, and oh no, the buffet doesn't make it. See, they looked at everything as what makes us money. Oh, we can charge more for the hotel room and the resort fee. We can charge more for the parking. We can charge for parking or the pool. We can charge for the food and why aren't we charging for drinks? And they totally missed the concept of Vegas. This is why it's empty, because people are used to paying for this stuff. Yeah, I hung up on you again, and I'm going to block you in a minute. People, when the people that go to Vegas, me and you, are expecting to watch football and bet on it, watch the games and get drinks for free because we bet on the games, and go play poker there and go to a normal Vegas vacation little coffee shop that we can get. We don't need Gordon Ramsay and pay $100 for a hamburger. I don't know how his businesses stay in business because he's just a big scammer. He's like me. I'm going to charge you $200 because I'll put sugar on the hamburger, wink, wink, and everybody likes it because it's sweet. I mean, what kind of joke is that? But the people that are going are not looking to pay for the part. We all go and expect to get great bargains. It's sort of like people come here to hear about gold and silver and doesn't cost them anything. And then they hear about my free pick. Oh, you got my free pick. And it's like Saturday. I'll use Saturday's Coastal Carolina. Well, that's why people come to me. They want the free pick. It wins most of the time. But you get the analysis. You get to go what's going on with gold and silver. So you come here for the information. I don't charge you for that information. If you're betting football, I charge you for the picks, but not for the analysis. In economics, I don't charge you anything. That's why you come here. So if I started charging you now to come in, I'd probably lose a lot of you. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe people, this is the only place you can get the Austrian economics and the gold, the silver, and what do I do? And, so maybe people would pay a little bit for it. But if you're used to going to Vegas and you're used to getting free drinks and you used to play the slot machines and you're used to playing $5 blackjack and you're used to eating at the buffet, that's the people you've got. And that's the people who aren't coming anymore. Then I watched where they're doing conventions and they can charge more for the convention. Well, this must be an old video because the conventions are now going to Arizona and California and other cities, maybe Houston or Texas or Florida. The conventions are not going to Vegas because it's too expensive, because they get hit with expensive. The guy was saying, well, they pay $400 a night for a hotel. No, they don't. No chance. Does people come to go to a convention in Vegas and pay $400 for? So you got to listen. Sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. But $60 breakfasts. No, I've worked at companies. I worked at AAA, and we went to a convention or a conference in San Diego. No. You got $20 for breakfast. There you go. That's your expense report. If you paid 60, you're eating 40 of it. So it was a lot of that. It was a lot of bullshit, but it was a lot like, oh, well, the conferences that people come to, they'll pay. We'll make money off of them, but they don't gamble. They don't go to the shows. So why would you want? So we're going to make money you're missing the whole point. You make money on the people coming and eating cheap and then gambling and losing their money gambling. But they missed the whole concept because the people that have bought Vegas are not gamblers. Why are they buying Vegas? Why are they buying these casinos? Somebody bought Caesars and MGM Bellagio. Why are they buying it? And they they don't understand the change that's happening. You're raising the cost. And a lot of that is because you're charging them rent. So now you own Caesars, and then they bought it, and now you're renting out Caesars, and they charge you a lot for rent, which you can't cover because there's nobody there because you've raised prices on everything. So they think if I raise prices, I can cover rent, which they're out of their minds. It does the exact opposite. So whoever's running these places are freaking idiots. Good morning, Luke. Vegas is very expensive. Some people pay $20 for a drink. It's like stadium prices if you're not gambling. Silver gold's looking good. Yeah, I texted you. Silver is in the 50s again, and gold had hit 4,100 again, and it's pushed back a little. But again, it's all paper, and again, it's worth 10 times more. But absolutely. Well, one guy said, so this is a pretty good video because it goes through like 10 guys, right? The 10 billionaires who fucked Vegas up. One of them wants to run it like the airport. I think he's like an airport guy or an airline guy. So it's like, how expensive things are at the airport. Well, that's what they're doing. They're making things really expensive on the strip. They don't understand. At the airport, you're kind of locked in. You can't bring your own water, but you can bring your own food, which I do. If I go to Europe, I get a dinner and a breakfast on the plane, so I'm not as worried. But if I go to Vegas, I'll bring a tuna sandwich and some Fritos or, apples on the plane to eat. Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to buy there, which they don't understand. But that's what they're doing in Vegas. And that's why it's so expensive. They're trying to cover the rent that these Vanguards and BlackRocks and Blackstones are putting on them. But it's just gonna be like in these commercial buildings. Nobody's there. The malls, and you can blame the internet for a lot of this, where people aren't going to the mall; they're going to Amazon. And so you've shifted, but the people eventually will want to go to the mall because they get tired of dealing with Amazon. It's a little cheaper because they don't have the overhead. They don't have the building and the rent. Well, they have some rent, I guess, where they store the stuff, but that's what they're doing. So it's a very intricate part. But if you're a bank and you charge rent to the people at the Empire State Building or Rockefeller Center, you're not getting it because they can't afford it. They don't have anybody there. Everybody's out. Everybody's working from home remotely. So that's it. So how are you going to get your rent? So if they think Caesar's Palace, I'm going to charge you, $100 million for rent, they'll never get it. There's nobody there to buy it. And as it's expensive, one guy said, well, he's only hoping for one-time customers that they won't know, and they'll come for the brand. And, I think one was the Golden Nugget. They'll come and stay there, but you won't come back because it's bullshit. The quality, the value and the quality aren't worth the price, which is what we keep talking about. And so therefore, they're all going to go under because nobody's going to it. And as Luke's saying, and he's been there, that it's expensive. Well, you're not running back there. My friend who lives there, he never goes to the Strip. He finds reasonable price places, or go to the restaurants, or go to the grocery stores and cook, or whatever it is. You don't, like here. I never go to, I very rarely go to MGM to eat because the prices are expensive. I tell them to fuck off. So I go to the barbecue place to eat, and then I go to the MGM to gamble. But, you don't. There's certain restaurants I go to, and then it's mostly I'm at the grocery store and I'm cooking. I just made sloppy joes the other day, and I'm cooking that and making my chicken and barbecuing it up. And fuck you, I'm not going to pay very expensive. Like, I don't know I don't understand how stupid these people are. You have to know what your market is, and that's what you price it at. You can't price everything up here. So what Vegas is doing, they're pricing everything up here, and the market's kind of going down, 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 out. It's another high price with nobody there. Oh, wait, we'll get the conventions to come, and the conventions will pay this price, and it's bullshit. Everybody who's worked at a company, which is probably all of our class, at one time or another, GM, Ford, Mercedes, AAA, whatever, there's limits on budgets, and they're trying to cut costs, they're trying to make profit, and they're doing more Teams meetings than they are, let's have a conference in Las Vegas. Who has a conference in Las Vegas? Some IT guys, maybe AI, until AI goes broke. So basically what you have is you've got these people charging high rent, and there's nobody home. If I own it, I'm out. Sorry, I can't pay. You're not getting paid rent. Well, I'm charging you. Well, good luck. And that's what happens. I'm not going to raise my costs so high and charge people $100 to park so I can pay rent. But then I have no people. And that's what's happening to Vegas is these Vanguards, BlackRocks, Blackstones buying the properties. Now, why would they sell the property? They probably needed it from COVID, is my guess. So COVID really screwed it up. I'm still one of the belief that China's behind all this, that when these go broke, China will buy the casinos from these rich guys very cheaply. Because they're all going to go broke. Nobody's going to be able to afford rent if you have no customers. So if we're running an ice cream shop, or if Bobby was here, it would be his tennis shoes, and you have no customers, you're not in business. If you're not making sales and revenue, you can't afford your expense. And in Vegas, if there's nobody there and you want to charge $100 for a cocktail to try to recover, or food, or the pool or the hotel rooms, you're not going to get anybody there. You're getting no revenue. How are you going to pay the rents off? Never happened. Lucas, so we're looking like breakout this week. We may see 54 by the end of the week. Well, again, it was held down, and now here it comes. And, Andy Scheckman, now's the time. Like, he knows. Yeah, I mean, I think the prices went down, as I say, so bricks could buy, and maybe some of the banks. That's a possibility. What the fuck with the phone? That's a possibility in my mind, is the prices drop so people could buy, because now we see $4,100 gold on its way back to 4,500 to 5,000, and we see silver again in the 50s. So as I said, don't panic. It was the sale of the century. You're getting $500 silver for 47. You could have picked it up for, and then gold went down to 3,900, and now it's back to 4,100. So it was a nice little discount. So that's what we have. But they should be jumping again. There's so many places sold out. We've got Pat in Singapore. It's a 6-hour line if you go into the guy's coin shop or jewelry store to buy gold and silver and coins and bars. Just a second. I don't know what the hell is this about. Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I'm here about the garbage phone.
I don't have a problem with the garbage. It's just the water runs out, but coming in.
Hello. You said you having what?
It's the sink.
It keeps shooting up, they said?
Well, yeah, I thought somebody fixed it, but
I did come and put some Drano, not Drano, this stuff that we use down.
see here, and then when sometimes it pops off. Right now I didn't put anything in, but when I do my dishes,
Yeah.
so it does do that. If you just put Drano in it.
No, not Drano. I put a solution that burned the grease back up. It heated the grease, the hair, whatever, anything that went down that drain, it heated up. So only thing I can say do to stop that would be this. And I'm not gonna lie to you, because they're not gonna do anything. I would say this and just go that route and flip it.
I can do that, but that's not the same problem.
Yeah.
I thought maintenance was supposed to fix problems. I thought that's what's part of my rent.
Yeah.
Not you, but just the idea, if you have a problem, your washer dryer breaks, maintenance comes and fixes it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So I know somebody came and they just left this open, and somebody told me this was plugged, which it probably still is.
Yeah, so no, that should be good and flowing. Yeah, that should be flowing now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
So what I did was, like I said, we got this solution. It's called maintenance. It's called drain maintenance.
Where do you put it, down here?
Yep, I did both sides.
Okay.
And I tell you, it was so much smoke coming out the drains because it's eating food, hair, grease, it's heating all that stuff up and sending it back to me. And I ran the hot water while I was doing it. I ran the disposal while I was doing it. And that's the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like I said, we just saw it now, and we see nothing's coming up. But if I make eggs, right, I oil the pan, and then I put it, and I mix it with the soap, but I got
It's a lot of water.
But I gotta put it down.
But that's why last time I showed you this, if you see this pipe right here is connected to this. This thing is spinning so fast, it shoots the water here. This is not a sweep, so it don't go down. You see, it don't go like this.
Yeah.
It goes right to a wall. So much water hit that wall that some's gonna come up and some's gonna go down. It's just inevitable. It's nothing we can do to fix it. Okay. Unless we put sweeps in. But if we put a sweep in, it changed the diagram and it changed the way that we have to install it. So they're not gonna bother it. They're gonna tell you, hey, either A, you're putting too much food down there or too much water pressure, or B, use that and stop it and send it through.
I noticed when it came, like most of the time now it's not coming up.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing the dishes, and
A lot of water.
then all of a sudden the water piles up, and then I run it, then I get shot.
Yeah.
But normally, it was fine. I checked it and it
What I
didn't
want
do
you
that.
to do next time, whatever's stuck, it'll force it through. Put this over that, and then flip it up and hold that there, and it should shoot. It should shoot that water to that wall and down, and it should be a good.
Yeah, because that's the problem. It shoots
Yeah.
off. I got my shirt all messed up, and it was after you came, so I thought that. But like now, it won't do anything. But once in a while, if I'm cleaning a lot of
A lot of
dishes,
water.
but I'm not really throwing grease down there. Because if I make like now, I put olive oil in here, and I had
See, that's okay.
and I'm gonna wash it anyway. I'm not setting it. I'm gonna take the soap and I'm gonna clean it and then put it. I have no other place to do. I got to put it down there.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. That ain't a lot of. That's the normal amount.
yeah,
Right?
that's what I do. Yeah, well, I just had like I'll make an omelet or I'll do that, but I'll eat the omelet. So, but that's how I usually am cleaning that. But I do that. I make a lot of omelets, and the pita bread I cook on there. But that's not the thing.
Yeah,
Once in a while,
that shouldn't clog it that bad though.
once in a while, if I do broil, I do put aluminum foil over that. So I get a little drop down.
So you want me to tell you what I was taught? If
Sure.
you have to put grease somewhere, what you would do is you would take a cup. It could be plastic. You would stuff aluminum foil down into the cup.
Yeah.
Line the cup and then pour the grease in there. Let the grease sit and harden for about an hour, and then you can pour that aluminum foil out. Toss that grease right in the car.
Yeah, I can do that. I've been doing this. I've been putting, if I do clean the pan, I've been putting it into here, and then I'll just put in the sewer out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But you don't
because
have
you
to
pointed that out, but I don't clean it that often.
Yeah, but you don't even have to do that. Just take one of these, line it with aluminum foil, dump the grease right in there, and let it harden.
Yeah, because it's hard right
this,
now. Yeah.
You can leave this for 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
or 4 days, or whatever the case may be, and keep using it until it fills up. And once it fills up, then you can go from there. Okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I don't clean that often.
Yeah.
So this is just something that once in a while. But if I see the sink really high,
Yeah.
I'll
You
then
know.
cup it.
Yeah,
But otherwise, it works fine. I mean,
Yeah. Well, man, I know you've been struggling with that, so I wanted to come and give you another solution.
it's just when it starts ruining my
Flattering.
clothes,
Yeah.
because but I've been here like 3 years, it never happened before.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it starts happening. I go, what the heck's going
All
on?
the
What's
time,
different?
that grease pile up.
I guess.
That drain gets shorter. You know, the more stuff down, it gets
Oh, so that's why
it
it
just
pops
keeps
up
clogging
instead
back.
of going down.
Yeah. So what I did when I put that stuff in, it helped. That helps a lot.
It helped lower it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it helps.
Yeah, and that's fine because I'm not noticing that.
Yeah. So good luck, man.
Thank you very
I'm gonna
much.
Go ahead.
Appreciate
I just
it.
wanted to come and make
No, I
sure I
appreciate
addressed it for you. Okay.
Appreciate you doing that because, I'm just trying to figure that out and stop. Like I said, if I have to do that, then I will do that so I don't get sprayed.
Right. Well, good luck.
No, I
Okay.
know. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Take care.
All
Huh?
right. All right, sorry, my Teaserking family. My sink, when I turn on the garbage disposal, there's 2 sides. So I pour, when I cook my eggs, the frying pan, and I put it in there. And then I run the disposal and it's spraying it out instead of not. And so that's what he was the maintenance guy doing that. And he put a lot of stuff to like Drano, which kind of kills, I think if you got hair or stuff in there. So he did that. Anyway, sorry for it must have been him calling because I do want them to call. I don't like them here when I'm not here, right? Okay, so talking Vegas. So what they're doing is changing the market and the model. The people, okay, every business we want customers. Luke, he sells tennis rackets, right? People sell golf clubs. Well, you're selling the tennis racket to people who play tennis. People who go to Vegas are people that want to gamble. They want to play their slot machines and get a free drink and do things they don't normally do 9 to 5, Monday through Friday at work. They go to get away from that. And these idiots, which we will go through, have changed that. They now are charging rent, forcing the idiots running the hotels to raise their prices in order to pay for the rent, because they're too stupid to know you don't want to raise prices. You want to lower prices. You want more people there. You want more people. You're not, they're missing the whole point. If I make you feel at home and I give you free drinks, you're going to play slots and lose $300-400 at it. The more people I have in the casino, they're going to eat hamburgers, hot dogs, egg, the normal food. That's what they want. What do they want, right? That's who I need. I need them eating and going and getting a little picture frame Las Vegas or a shirt. I want them buying food and liquor there. I want them buying souvenirs, and I want them staying in the pool and relaxing. And then they come and gamble. And they're going to gamble $400 or $500, which is going to cover all the bullshit that you're trying to do. But I'm trying to get people into my casino as if I want to get people into my ice cream store or whatever shoe store, whatever store you have or hotel. I want people there. The more people, the more money. I want people to come and buy Teaserking. The more people that buy, the better it is for me. I don't want to price it at $1,000 and get no business. What the fuck would that be? That would be the stupidest thing in the world. So I don't want to do that. So what you have is people that are not business people. They look at it, and when they call them Wall Street, they came in to just take the buildings and charge rent. That's all they care about. And then that's what they're trying to do. And then the people running the hotels are idiots. They go, oh shit, we better increase our prices on everything. We'll have resort fees and pay for parking. We'll run it like an airport. Yeah, that's really successful. The only time people go to the airport is to eat. You can't even do that. I used to go to the airport and watch the planes and eat when I was a kid. You can't even do that. You can't even go to the restaurants. You can't go in without a boarding pass. You can't get through security and can't get to the restaurant. So the whole point of the airport is retarded. And then you can't. So you're not trying, So at Vegas, it's not about raising the price. Oh, we'll make money on food and parking. No, you're gambling. You make money on gambling because people will drop $500. But they're not stupid because they park at Kroger's every day and they go to the pool every day and they go shopping every day and they eat and drink every day and they know what the price they're going to pay. And so if they go to Big Boys or a Coney or McDonald's or a little nicer restaurant, they know what they pay. They know what they're going to pay for the drink and if they drink or whatever. We go to the barbecue place and Alyssa gets a $8 margarita or something. But if it's 20, I'll say, no. I'll buy you a bottle, but you're not gonna eat that. Jesus, my little angel keeps falling. So that's the whole point of it, is people know what they want to spend, but the gambling's different. It's exciting. I mean, I have friends that don't gamble that I'll go play poker and they'll go to the slot machine and they'll take out $100 and they'll play slots just because it's fun and I can't lose a lot. It's watching the wheel and the excitement and the other people there. Well, you've killed it now. You have nobody there because people don't want to be ripped off and they go to a different place. So nobody's going to Vegas because of that, because you raise prices as if people are morons. You've even killed the locals who aren't going. You've laid off a bunch of people. So there was you've got this one. America's biggest layoff just began. Amazon and Boeing are laying off a lot of people. There's one on fast food. McDonald's has laid off a bunch of people. So this is all inflation of killing the money, making it worthless. You need more dollars to buy McDonald's, and people don't have it. They're not making more at work. All the other expenses are going up. You can't have it. You can't. No, I can't pay $10 in McDonald's for food. So I would think the grocery stores would be doing well because everybody's going to run and buy hamburger and buy chicken at the grocery stores. Now I noticed my meat grocery store, Bush's, which is more expensive, right? But the problem is they're expensive everywhere. Well, I don't need to get an apple there. I can get an apple at Meijer's. I can get or Walmart's. I can cauliflower. I don't need their stuff for fruit and vegetables, but I do want the meat, which is I think a loss leader. I got like $6 a pound hamburger, 85 ground, sirloin for $6. That's reasonable and it's good quality. So that I got, but not this crap. So anyway, so that's where I kind of drifted to this morning was the magic died because I think had COVID and I think they were in trouble, and then these guys came in and bought them. Because all of a sudden the guy owns Caesars, the guy owns Bellagio, like the guy's ruining MGM. The guy at MGM made all the MGM properties the same. Well, it's cheaper if I just put it all together, and the MGM, the Bellagio, this, that, all the other New York, and I just call it one thing. Well, dude, the whole reason of all these different themes, Caesar's Palace, Bellagio, the Dunes, Sands, Desert Inn, is because it was all supposed to be different, not the same. This guy comes in and says, "Oh, I can consolidate it into one and save money." No, you're an idiot. People go to New York, who are from New York because they want to go to New York. Hello, McFly. Nobody's home. These are the stupidest people, and yet they're making billions of dollars, which I think they're all criminals, probably from stock swindles and stuff at Wall Street. They're all bankers. They're all corrupt. They're all Madoffs. Don't kid yourself. So all these billionaires are just corrupt people. All right. We will get back to this video. I'm not going to play the whole video. It's 30 minutes, but I'm going to play the last two, and we will see. Okay. Gold 48.93 and silver 50.10. So, like I said, don't be afraid they're going down. BRICS owns too much gold and silver. They don't want the price to go down. They want it to go up because they own it all, as we want it to go up because we own it. This is the side effect of getting out of dollars was one thing, so we don't lose in dollars. But then to watch gold and silver go to the moon, and now we're much wealthier with that, is unbelievable. So again, gold goes to $5,000, goes to $10,000, goes to $25,000. Silver 50 goes to 100, goes to 500, goes to 1,000, probably 2,000. No, I don't have a time. There's no timeline unless I go in the Doc Brown's time machine and go to 2020 or go to 2030 and see what the prices are. Then I can say, oh, it happened on this date. Otherwise, I can't tell you the date. There is no date. So there's no point in asking when. It's happening. Like I said, the Lions won the game, but I can't tell you when they score in the game. All right. So let's go to let's look at the pro scores yesterday. Well, first we got Green Bay 1.5, 45.5 over Philadelphia today. Monday night. I do have a play in on this. And we will see. Hopefully it wins. The way things are going, I have no idea. So Denver starts out winning 10-7 in this screwed up week. Again, this Thursday night mess. You don't get a normal game. That's it. Indy wins 31-25 in London, Germany. Again, they're laying 6.5. They don't cover because they don't kick the extra point because it's overtime. So it was tied at 25, I believe. I don't understand the ending. If Atlanta had already punted and all you need is to kick a field goal to win the game, why are you running the ball? Houston wins 36-29. I don't know where these points came from. Houston doesn't score 36. Houston with the great defense gives up Jacksonville 29. What was that? New Orleans wins 17-7 again. You can't trust Carolina and Steve Young, and Steve Young looked like Steve Young even against New Orleans. I'm glad for Tyler Shaw, but I can't say New Orleans is still a Z team. It's just Carolina is terrible. And again, this is a division game. They're both in the NFC South, so you're going to get games like this in the division. New England wins 28-23. Tampa 23-3 in the teaser now goes to 23-4 in the teaser. However, I laid away from that because I don't know what New England is. And so I ended up going over 48.5 because I know the Baker's going to do it and that. So it was over 42.5 in the teaser and they get to 51. So that was a winner. So I lose on the Houston under. So start off, I win Denver. Minus 2.5. I lose Houston under. I win Tampa Bay over. Cleveland and the Jets I ignore because it's Cleveland and the Jets. And the Jets win 27-20 on a kickoff return and a punt return. So they get two. They get a kickoff return and a punt return to win the game. Whatever. That's the point of it. It's how I like the dog in the game, so I would have taken the Jets, but I'm not playing the Jets. Somehow the Jets won, but Cleveland's just, I don't think it's Gabriel's fault, but sometimes Cleveland has this great defense, but where was it? Again, it was a kickoff return and a punt return. All right. Baltimore 27, Minnesota 19. Very leery of J.J. McCarthy. Couldn't bet on him, but very leery of the Minnesota defense, what they did to Detroit. So it was a no play. Baltimore, as I said, they're 15-3 as a road favorite, so that came through. And Minnie's 7-0 as a home dog, 21-5. So they did cover because they were getting 10.5 and they lost by 8. But again, you can't trust J.J. McCarthy, and Baltimore with a very weak defense getting a little better. And a lot of the times the defense is based on the offense sucking. So if you pull like an Army-Navy game and you go, 15-play, 90-yard drive, Army or Navy, your defense looks great because the other team doesn't have the ball. You're just methodically doing it. Air Force did that to San Jose State in my one San Jose State play. They were high scoring, but they didn't get the ball, and then they had a few turnovers. Okay, the game of the day, Buffalo. I got 30-7 Buffalo winning, and it was 30-13, but only it was Miami winning. Can anybody explain this to me? So this is my loser on the free play. My apologies. I thought I was playing the best game. Based on the Miami defense. I stayed away from Baltimore because of the Minnesota defense and what they did to the Lions. But now I go to Miami. I go, Miami with the 27 defense. Let's play that. Now, Buffalo, you just beat Kansas City. Are you out of your mind not being fired up to win Miami? Now, they had lost 2 games in a row already this year, and then they killed Carolina, and then they beat Kansas City. You got to be kidding. You're losing to Miami with Tagovailoa, no Tyreek Hill, no defense. Miami's a 27 defense. you score 13 points, you fumble the ball, there was 2 interceptions, and of course, let's go for it on 4th down and not make it. So the bugaboo here in most of the games where the good team kind of loses or barely wins, it's turnovers. They'll throw, there's two combination of 2 things. One, your quarterback's got his head up his ass, turning the ball over. 2, the other team starts running on you and you can't stop their run. So they just run because their quarterback sucks, which is why they're a bad team. So Miami ran, Achan ran for like 200 yards. And Buffalo, all you got to do is bring up a safety, fellas. And they probably had 2 deep zone. Why with Tagliavua? He can't throw. And they ran it, and Buffalo fumbled at the 5, threw a couple of interceptions, and let's go for it. And this is a joke, 30-13. You can't predict this in a million years. You can't predict this because Miami sucks. They haven't shown anything. They're a Z team. Miami, I got them as a W team now. They're starting to score. What can we do from this? Do we take Miami next week? No, it was just a fluke. Yes, it was a division game. Okay, but that's about it. We had it at, I think, 9, so I'm laying 3. Okay, they played Kansas City the week before, and they won. They're going to go this flat. They're 2 games behind New England. 3 games, actually, because New England beat them. How good is Buffalo? How good is Baltimore? San Diego? Minnesota? How good is there any good teams in this league? Because I'm beginning to doubt it. Detroit loses to Minnesota. Kansas City loses. I'm really seriously wondering if there's any good teams here. All right. Chicago 24, the Giants 20. I liked the game over, but I didn't play it. I would have won it. It was 45.5. In the teasers, 39.5. I thought about it, but without Scatterboot, Chicago is an over team. They score a lot. They both had 28 defenses. So that was going to be my over play, but without Scatterboot, because they both have 28 defenses. So I was a little bit unsure of Dart without Scatterboot, but he ran in 2 touchdowns. So there you go. The Bears, an over team. But again, they're good because they're playing the worst schedule in the world. They get Minnesota again this week. We'll see what they really look like. Seattle, 44-22 over Arizona. I play this game under because I have no idea. Brissett's playing. I like that. 19 defense Seattle, 21 defense Arizona. Well, how can I play this over? There was 2 fumble by Brissett for touchdowns. So he goes back to throw, fumbles, touchdown, fumbles, touchdown. That's 14 points right there. How do you bet that? I mean, the guy not only once but twice. Like, again, this is Brissett's problem, and this is where I tell you about quarterbacks not reading a defense. The quarterback can't read the defense, so when they blitz him, he's holding the ball and he loses it and he fumbles it. Versus the quarterback reading there's a defense, getting rid of the ball before the blitz gets to him. That's what I mean by reading the defense. Brady can do it. Aaron Rodgers does it. I think Manning, I don't know if Manning could do it. But most of the good quarterbacks do it. Joe Burrow does it. Mahomes does it real well. So the quarterback that reads the blitz and gets rid of it quickly are the best quarterbacks. And then the Brissetts and the Calebs and all those who can't read that they're going to get blitzed. So they can't read the blitz. And they end up they can't read the blitz, and they end up getting sacked and fumbled and throwing interceptions. And this is the problem with the league, because these are the problems with these athlete quarterbacks instead of quarterbacks. So the guys who can run around really can't read defenses, can't read blitzes, but they're good at like running around. Like Caleb, he gets the ball, they blitz, he runs here and he runs there, and it's like, what the hell is he doing? So anyway, how could you pick that game over? I couldn't. 2 good defenses. Arizona just shut down Dallas. I mean, and you give up, well, that's the thing. You gave up 30 really to Seattle with 2 fumbles. Detroit 44-22. That was our lock. Funny how both those games were 44-22. The Seattle won 44-22 Detroit. Now, Detroit, off of a loss, playing Washington, playing a 26 defense, they never punted. I knew they were going to play. Now, what happened the week before with Minnesota? They ran into a 22 defense who shut them down and shut the run down. Even though it was at Detroit, they ran into a good defense, right? Harrison Smith and Van Ginkel and all these guys, no, they're too good. And that's why their number's a little high. But, they held Baltimore to 27, I guess. But then they get Washington to 26 defense. And that's my point. Let's bet against the weaker defenses. So that's why I didn't play Baltimore. Let them have fun with Minnesota. But let's take Detroit over Washington. And that's why it was the lock. It was the big lock with Mississippi State over. The other lock was Coastal Carolina winning and then losing the San Jose State over because Air Force decides to play Air Force ball and run and eat the clock up. So, again, I had no idea they weren't doing that before. The Rams, 42-26. I do play this over. This goes to 68. So we got 66, 66, 68. We had a lot of points yesterday. 51 in the Tampa game, 46 in the Baltimore game, 44 in the Bears, 66 in Arizona, Seattle, 56 in Indy and Atlanta. Houston goes 65. The only one that was low scoring was New Orleans, Carolina, a game where there was no quarterback. The only other one that wouldn't have covered is Buffalo was 43. So had you played the over 44 instead of Buffalo, you would have lost the over. Everything else, I think, went over. All right, and the last game. The only other game that doesn't go over is San Diego wins 25-10, 35. I did play the over 39 there, so I just lost. Winner. Oh, no, that's a loser. Buffalo. I almost locked Buffalo, so I'm glad I didn't. Tampa Bay winner, Houston loser. So I ended up going 4-4, which is a terrible day for me, but I was happy I hit the lock. I was kind of upset I missed the free play. And because I had free played Detroit, Minnesota, I didn't want to free play Detroit again. But I did lock them just because of them playing a weak defense. So tonight we got Philadelphia 1.5 and 45.5. And I did play the game. In a teaser, Tampa Bay loses. The Rams win. Arizona loses. New England wins. Indy wins. Houston wins. Denver wins and Seattle wins. Play against the Jets, you lose. Play against Miami, you lose. Tennessee didn't play. Cincinnati didn't play. Play against Arizona, you win. Play against Phillies tonight. Play against New Orleans, you lose. And play against Jacksonville, you win. So, it's not 100, nothing's 100%, and I think you know that. Okay. Let's look at next week, week 11. Isn't it amazing how quick the season goes? We're waiting for it to start. It finally starts. We're in week 11 now. Soon it'll be Thanksgiving. Then it'll be Christmas. Then we get into the playoffs. Then it'll be the Super Bowl. And Kansas City will win again. All right. The JETSs go at New England. New England looks really strong. The spread's a little high, 11.5, 44. What do you do with this? This is a case. It's a division game. It's a Thursday night. The total of 44. I don't know what to say. This is the problem. We don't know who the Jets are. A new coach, Fields, who sucks. New England, a new coach, Drake May. They look good. They're 8-2. Again, not beating a lot of good teams, although they did get the win against at Tampa, 28-23. So that was very good. But okay, they got to get up for the Jets. We just saw Buffalo lose to Miami. We saw Detroit lose to Minnesota. We've seen strange things happen. They did go to Buffalo and win, so they don't really need the game. They're in first place by 2 games now over Buffalo. They're actually going for the 1 seed with Denver. So what do you do here? I don't know. It's 11.5, 44. I don't know. We got to look at the totals. Maybe it's an overplay. I don't know. Washington on Sunday morning from London again. Washington at Miami. 2, 3, and 7 teams. Now, who in their right mind, living in London or Germany or wherever the hell this is, probably Frankfurt, who in the hell is going to this game? You got a war going on. You've got massive inflation. Who has money anyway? They want to eat and pay their bills. Who has money to go to this game, and who would want to go see Washington, Miami? That might be why they're on at 9:30. Nobody's watching the game. Miami, 2.5, 47.5. I saw Washington, Detroit. Detroit never stopped Washington. I think they stopped them once. Washington moved up and down the field on them. They had no problem scoring. It's just Detroit went on these 10, 11. It was like the Air Force. They went on these 10, 11 play drives and then scored. Miami answered. Detroit go on a 10, 11 game play drive. Washington answered. Just until the end when they brought in Josh Johnson for some reason, and they killed the clock, was the only time Washington really didn't do it. I think they got stopped on one drive, and they couldn't stop Detroit. But so Miami, what are they going to run the ball with A-Chain now, or is because they're tired of Tagliabue throwing interceptions? Miami 2.5, 47.5. Washington's a live dog. Miami can't be favored over anybody, and they're both 3-7. San Diego goes to Jacksonville. San Diego is a 3-point favorite, 44. We can't get a break. We wanted the Jacksonville to be the favorite. We want to take the Chargers. San Diego is a dog. Can't get them here. 344. Again, this is a rough place. You got to travel to the coast, and then you got to, fight it. And you got Harbaugh as the coach, so you got a lot of trouble. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. This should be over without looking at it. Pitt, 5.5, 50. Cincinnati's lighting it up with Flacco, they all had the week off, so they're fresh. Pittsburgh, they don't have a defense. What was that score last night? 25. They gave up 25 to San Diego. What happened to their offense? I don't know. San Diego, very inconsistent team. The biggest problem you have handicapping right now is which team shows up. The Buffalo team that beat KC, or the one that lost to Miami. The Detroit team that lost to Minnesota, or the one that beat Washington. The Baltimore teams, the Kansas City teams, they're pretty consistent. Philadelphia, Green Bay should be a good game today. It should be pretty consistent. At least I like to hope so. But here, this is all over it. Pitt, since you with no defense, Pitt with Aaron Rodgers, this should be a higher scoring game. Again, this is superficial before I look at injuries. Green Bay goes to the Giants, the 1961 championship game and the 1962 championship game. Green Bay won them both. Those are Lombardi's first 2 wins. Green Bay 8.5, 44.5 against the Giants. Now, Micah Parsons should go all over Jackson Dart, and this is the problem with Dart. This is the problem with the running quarterback. When you get in against a team who has speed, who has a Micah Parsons, it's going to get eaten for lunch because he's not going to be able to run on Micah Parsons. It's at the New Yorks. So Green Bay 8.5, 44.5. Interesting game. Let's see what happens tonight first, obviously. The Bears go to Minnesota. Minnesota 3, 48.5. Just like week 1, you got J.J. McCarthy, who sucks, against Caleb, who sucks worse. Better defense, Minnesota, Green Bay. They gave up 20 to the Giants. Another case in point, we don't know who we're getting. If you looked at these teams and said, which one's 6-3, you got to go with Minnesota. But it's the Bears are 6-3, but they haven't played anybody. The one team they played, Detroit killed them by 50. Otherwise, it's a shit schedule. You beat the Giants yesterday. I think they beat the Jets. Here comes Minnesota at home. Stronger defense. Look for Caleb to have problems like Detroit did. Minnesota's favored by 3, 48.5. Interesting. Houston goes to Tennessee. Tennessee, the Z team, the worst team in the league, I think, although it might be Buffalo now. Houston, 7.5, 39.5. I don't know. You have Davis Mills or do you have Stroud? Davis Mills, I'm. How did Houston score all these points? So I got to go to YouTube and watch the 20-minute review of what the fuck happened in these games. How did Houston score that many points? Oh, Davis Mills lit it up. Oh, okay. Well, I'll take him over Tennessee then. Tennessee's terrible. Tampa goes to Buffalo. Ooh, this should be very high scoring. Buffalo 5.5, 50. So was Buffalo beating Kansas City looking ahead to Tampa? If you tell me that, I'm going to tell you you're full of shit. You can't look ahead of Miami because you got Tampa. Now, maybe that's what happened, but I doubt it. I just think they laid an egg. Who goes in to lose? If your team goes to lose and doesn't care, you need a new coach. And I think Buffalo needs a new coach anyway. 6-3. It's not. I'm never impressed with Buffalo's coach. Like, oh, they won because of the coach. Like Andy Reid. Oh, okay, or Coach Pete. But not this guy. I am not convinced he's a good coach. He's supposed to be a defensive coach. This is their defense. Oh, Buffalo's defense is it's probably a 23 right now. Giving up 30 to a fucking Miami team without Tyreek Hill. Are you kidding me? Wow. So Buffalo 5.5, 50. Oof. Yeah, I think Tampa's very live. And I know they don't have their receivers, but they've got the others. The other receivers are good. Iboka is thrown in. They have a couple others that are good. I don't think that's their problem. Yes, they got injuries, but again, it's football. And the guys, if you have a good eye for talent, the other guys coming in, are certain, like the Lions. They go to their third string defensive, their corners, and they're okay. Here you got Winfield Jr. and Larry David. So Tampa's got some players on defense. But the ones you plug in aren't like grocery store guys. I mean, they know how to play. A lot of colleges out there with players. So this should be an interesting Tampa live dog and total over. Very live, I believe. Carolina goes to Atlanta. Atlanta's only 3.5, 42.5. Carolina, I believe, beat them 30-0 in the first game. This is major revenge. Atlanta's the better team. Carolina just got smoked by New Orleans. And the only problem here is Atlanta coming back from fucking Germany. That's the other part of it, right? They got to go there and they get jet lagged and then the time change. Then they got to come home to a 7-hour flight back to Atlanta and more jet lag and more time change. It's the stupidest thing. Oh, but we care about players' health. My ass, you care about players' health. So I don't know. Atlanta 3.5. We have to see. Now, I have to make a sidebar here on teasers. Talking to a guy who doesn't know anything about teasers says, well, I might say, hey, take 3.5, get 2.5. And people don't understand, well, 2.5 isn't a good number. Why would I tease it? Because you don't want to lay 3.5 is why. So in other words, I'm not taking it for the 2.5. I'm taking it because I believe Atlanta will win, but they might win by a field goal. But I think they'll win. And this way, now all they have to do is win the game. And I've won a lot of money on these teasers. You don't always tease to get under 3 or over 7. Yes, if it's an 8-point game, you want to get it to 2, and if it's a 2-point spread, you want to take the 8. I get that, but that's not how you play teasers. That is not. You don't just play teasers because you analyze the game, you figure out the score, and in this day you go, "Well, Atlanta's going to win. I'll take Atlanta plus 2.5." I don't care about that. I care that I don't have to lay 3.5 or 4. I've done that a lot, and I've won it a lot because, they'll win by 2 or 3, but I'm not laying it. I'm not laying the 3.5. And then, I'll go to money line. That's the stupidest bet in the world, the money line. Where did that come from? Money line in baseball, I get. Money line in hockey, I get. Money line in football, I don't get. Just tease it. Go plus 2.5. You lay 110 to win 100. What's the money line if you take Atlanta? And then you got it even. What if they lose by 1? I still win in the teaser. Or they lose by 2. I win in the teaser, which are very probable outcomes here. So don't give me, I can't tease cross 0. I only get 1 or 2. That's not the point of it. If you're laying 4, you're betting it because you don't want to lay more than 3. And there, you don't care that, let's say it's 4, that you get 2. That's not the object. The object is I don't have to lay 3 or 4. My odds on winning just increased 50%. That's why you're doing it. All right. Frisco goes to Arizona. We've got, I don't know who quarterback, the Rams killed them as I knew they would. Stafford, that's revenge a little bit, but the Rams are probably the best team in the NFC. Stafford's hot. Pukanuka's back. You got a killer defense. Decent coach. I used to think he was a better coach, but he was smart enough to get rid of Jared Goff. So, okay, we'll give him, we'll give him that. Sean McVay. Although my best coach is Sean Payton at Denver. So Frisco's a road favorite to Arizona. Which Arizona team's going to show up? The one that almost beat Green Bay, or the one that the quarterback fumbled every time to Seattle? So that gets you to the defense. Does Frisco have that strong blitz defense? I don't think so. Not with all the injuries. So they could be okay there. So Arizona is probably a live home dog here. Seattle goes to the Rams. This is a great game. Both teams are 7-2. The Rams are 2.5-point favorites, 48.5. This isn't either game. I think Seattle is a very live dog here. I think the total is, I don't know. There's supposed to be this 2 really good defensive teams. But again, the defense really can't stop Stafford if he gets going. So I'm not really sure what to do here, but I think Seattle is a live dog. KC goes to Denver. KC -4, 40.5. I think Denver's a live dog here, getting 10. They're 8-2. KC's 5-4. KC has to win, obviously. Denver's playing good. Okay, they had the Oakland game, but again, were they looking ahead? I can't believe I got to say this in the pros that they're looking past Oakland for Kansas City, but maybe that's what happened in Buffalo and that's what happened in Denver. And if that's the point, you got the worst coaches I've ever seen. But I know Sean Payton isn't. Denver will play them very tough. They are very good at home, as we know, and they're a 4-point dog. We get 10. Yeah, that's a pretty live dog right there. Baltimore close to Cleveland, and Baltimore's going to kill them. Cleveland stinks. They lost to the Jets. Baltimore isn't great, but they're getting better. They did beat a good Minnesota defense. Cleveland's defense doesn't seem to be showing up. Baltimore's 9-41.5. Maybe we go over because Baltimore's not have a great defense, and Baltimore's -9. So this is a Baltimore and an over, I believe. Detroit goes to Philly. Great Sunday night game. Philly's 1.5, 49.5. Well, wait, there's a game tonight. You can't bet this game. I don't know why you can put a line out there. What if Hurts gets hurt? What if Barkley gets hurt tonight? I mean, hopefully they don't, But what if they do? You got a bad line out there. So with this line, and assuming everybody stays healthy for Philly, which is a big assumption, Detroit, they're going to struggle. This is a good defense, I believe. Philly's got a 23 defense. Let's see what they look like tonight. But again, this is a problem for Detroit. Kansas City, Minnesota, Green Bay, they lost. Two of them are on the road. The Minnesota game was at home. They're going to struggle scoring. Philly's going to run it down their throat. Detroit struggles with the run. Washington, they didn't stop Washington. What's the total on this? 49.5. I don't know if this is an over because I don't know if Detroit's going to score. It's a tough defense, and they're going to struggle with it. They won't be able to run. Therefore, Goff looks like an idiot. He can't stay on his spot. Throws a couple of picks. If Philly loses tonight to Green Bay, this is a real strong Philly play. If they beat Green Bay, they're not off of a loss. But if they are, look out. So we'll see what happens tonight. In our last game, Monday night, why are they showing this? Dallas against Oakland. This is your Monday night game. You want anybody to watch? Oakland 2-7, Dallas 3-5-1. We know Dallas is stronger at home, I guess. I don't know. They should light up Oakland. Has no defense. Dallas is 3.5, 50.5. I don't know. Maybe you play the Raiders over because Dallas can't score or Dallas can't play defense, and Oakland is a very good has Brock Bowers. That's all you can say about Oakland. Dallas on the road, I don't know. Alex, good morning. How are you? So I don't know. Dallas, Oakland on a Monday night. Yeah, maybe in the 70s this would have been Stabler against whatchamacallit, Roger Staubach. Then I'd be watching. I don't think I'll be watching this one. So we got some good games. Detroit, Philly, KC, Denver, Seattle, and the Rams. Tampa Bay, Buffalo. Chicago, Minnesota. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. But we start with the Jets, New England, and Washington, Miami. So we got some good games in there. All right. College. Now, we went over college briefly, but we haven't done it with the line. So let's use the line. So tomorrow we got Mac tomorrow. We got Mac Wednesday. Troy Old D on Thursday. 2 games Friday, and then a shitload on Saturday. So I still have to put my scores in from last week, but I won't do that on class time. Let's look ahead. So we start off with Kent State, Akron. Akron 5.5, 46.5. So what do we know about this game? We got a Z team in Kent and a W team in Akron. Kent with the 34 defense, Akron with the 27. Maybe you take Akron at home against the Z team if you want to bet MAC football. Ohio goes against Western. Ohio 1.5, 47.5, a road favorite. And we've got an E team in Ohio, 24 defense. And Western's an under team, 19 defense. That's Tuesday games. Wednesday, we're not going to go through all these little games, but just the Tuesday, Wednesdays, as there's 3 games Wednesday. More MAC, Northern Illinois, UMass, the worst team. Northern Illinois, 11.5, 42.5. So do you take Northern Illinois, lay 5 against UMass, who couldn't beat a high school team? We got Toledo, Miami. Toledo, 3.5, 44.5 to Miami of Ohio. They're both 5 and 4. Toledo is an A team with a 14, and Miami's an E team with a 21 defense. This is actually a good game. You can't just go, oh, it's Toledo, they're the A team, I'm going to bet them. You can't do that. Well, you could, but Buffalo goes to Central. Central minus 2.5, 43.5. We've got Buffalo, an under team with a 20 defense. Central, an E team with a 24. Damn, good luck on those. Troy, Old Dominion on Thursday. Old D minus 10.5, 53.5. We got Troy, an E team with a 24. Old D, a B team with a 23. Okay, Friday night, we will talk because there's 2 good games. Clemson goes to Louisville. Louisville off of a loss, minus 3.5, 51.5. And we got Oregon minus 24, 45.5. I'm a little surprised by Oregon minus 24. Minnesota's not that bad. Oregon with a 13 defense. Played Iowa to a, 18-16 game. I had the under there. That was a good play. The Oregon, it all depends on the matchup of the game. If you go overs and unders, and as I'm finding out, oh, they're an under team, I got to play them under. Well, not necessarily. Like Utah and Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago, it looked like an under game, and the more I thought about it, and the more they score, I took the game over, and I won with it. So because Cincy's a pretty explosive team, as is Utah, so I didn't just take it. I went over, and I won with it because I did go because Utah put up 45 points. Louisville's an A team, 21. They did beat Miami. Clemson's terrible, 22 team. Louisville 3.5, 51.5 there. But again, Clemson could upset them. It's such Heckle and Jekyll. K-State, Oak State. K-State minus 20 and 53.5. K-State's an over team with 27 defense. Oak State's the Z team in the Big 12. The quarterback sucks. The coach, Gundy, got fired. They give up 38 a game. K-State might just pound them. Notre Dame and Pitt. Notre Dame minus 10.5. 55.5. Alex, if only it was that easy to just say they got better personnel, they're going to win. Because then you would bet Ohio State every week, and you would bet Alabama, and but we know it's not like that. There's the point spread, and that's what you got to factor into it. So let's see if the Navy quarterback cries an hour before game and quits. Notre Dame, okay, they beat the Navy. Pitt's a very good team. They're an A team, 21 defense. If anything, I think this is an over. I would not take Notre Dame here. Pitt could pull the upset very easily. Good team. Wisconsin at Indy. Wisconsin upset Washington. Holy shit. Indy is minus 30 and 44.5. Now, the total, okay, because Wisconsin is an under team, 22 defense. Indy's at 12. My problem with Indy is they're too conservative to be a power. Against Penn State, they needed to open it up and not run. And then they let Penn State stay in the game, which should never have been close. Here, they're at home to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's kind of a weak team with a good defense. And after beating Washington, Will they be flat? I don't know that you're going to be flat playing Indiana. I don't know that you can do anything, but I don't like 30 points. No, thank you. Air Force goes to UConn. UConn minus 7.5, 63.5. I'd have a hard time going over against Air Force after last week. If they're going to run the ball down your throats, then this is an under. We'll have to watch. But if they're back to option football, run, this is way under. I mean, this will be in the 40s. Michigan goes to Wrigley Field to play the Chicago Cubs. Michigan is minus 10.5 and 41.5. I remember they did a game from Wrigley years ago. I think Ohio State and somebody. The field Notre Dame, and the field, I think it was Notre Dame Navy, and the field wasn't long enough. So when you got down to like the 20-yard line, they had to switch sides because it wasn't because they screwed up on the dimension. So I think it's probably better now. I don't know what they did, but they had the wrong angle. Pretty interesting. Northwestern, I guess they're a pretty good team. They beat Penn State. They played USC pretty well, apparently, till a fake punt. Michigan, I don't know. All they do is run. I've never seen a team that can't throw, and they run and they get a 50-yard touchdown every game, a 50, 60-yard touchdown by the running back going through off tackle. Never seen anything like it. Michigan with the 17 defense, Northwestern a 19. I might think under, but the total's 41.5. Not sure. Maybe. So this is the neutralizer is the points. So it's not that easy. Oh, they got the better talent. They're going to win. Indiana's got a better talent than Wisconsin. You're laying 30. You're going to take Indiana with the better talent because they got better talent, or you got to worry about the 30. So that's where the points neutralize it. UTSA minus 17.5, 60. Why do I bring this game up? Because it's against Charlotte, our Z team. And Charlotte's pretty bad. Obviously, 38 defense. UTSA at 33. I don't know if you can go over with Charlotte with the Z team. They're not going to score for you. So be careful there. Good team, South Florida Navy. South Florida minus 10.5, 64.5. The Navy, is the quarterback going to play, or is he going to cry? Or did he get paid off? Did Vegas pay the quarterback to not play an hour before the game? And then everybody was betting Notre Dame. It went from 25 to 29. Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. South Florida, good team, good over team. Navy, we're not sure. I mean, can't trust the quarterback. I don't know who you can trust on that team. Arizona goes to Cincinnati. Cincinnati minus 6.5. 55.5. I think you got a live dog here in Arizona. Fajita is playing well again. Did they win or lose? I think they beat Kansas 24-20. I got to put the scores in. I'm so busy with Sunday, and now I'm busy with next week that I haven't put my scores in. That's why sometimes I don't update my site immediately, is because I'm looking ahead and analyzing. I already know what I did, win or lose thing. So this should be good. This probably goes over. We'll see. South Carolina A&M. A&M minus 19.5. 48.5. Venoris is not very good, as we see. Reed's very good for A&M. Both have 22 defenses. I got A&M as an over just because I know they play a lot of high-scoring games. The Arkansas game sticks in my head, the Notre Dame game. So how can they be an A team giving up 40 points in 2 games? So I got them as an over. I think that number could be a little too low, 48. Arkansas and Bobby, LSU minus 6, 55.5. The new coach looks like an idiot. Let me challenge that. Dude, it was clearly a fumble. What are you challenging? Well, that's their last challenge of the game. The guy wasted on a play that was Very obvious it was a fumble. All right, LSU at home, 655.5. Their defense played well. However, was it because it was a big rivalry game with Alabama? Are they going to play like that against Arkansas, who's very strong offensively and very weak defensively? LSU brought in a new quarterback, a runner who couldn't throw, who got sacked a bunch and fumbled a bunch. So, again, that's Alabama. They get after you. Arkansas, I don't think, has anybody that can make a sack. So I don't know. This could be points here. Again, this is the first time I'm looking at it, so I'm not giving you picks at this point. I'm just superficially looking at it, checking injuries. Will come after. West Virginia, ASU, Arizona State, 11.5, 47.5. West Virginia, a W team with a 30 defense. Arizona State, an E, the 23, but Levitt, I believe, is out for the year. So now it's backup quarterback time. Don't we love that? North Texas, UAB, both overs. North Texas minus 18.5. 69. Ouch. That's what they're telling you. North Texas has scored 50 points a few times this year. Good quarterback. UAB, I got him as an over team with the 37. I'll have to look more into it. See, that's where I'll punch the button and I'll go, let's take a look. And then it pops it into all the good stuff. And then you scroll down and then you see, North Texas. 31-17, 54 on Charlotte, the Z team, 55 on UTSA, 36 on South Florida, but they gave up 63, and then South Alabama, 36. So they score at least 35 a game, and here we've got them. It's a 69. But the question is, how good's UAB? Let's take a look. They lost to Army. They got killed by Florida Atlantic. They beat Memphis. How do you lose by 20 to Florida Atlantic and beat Memphis? Wow. They lose to Connecticut 38-19 and lose to Rice, who's not decent. They're a decent team this year. So we see them only scoring 19 on Connecticut, 17. So they don't really score. They give up 30, 50, 25 twice, and 38. So they give up a lot. So I'm not sure they're an over team. Again, if you read between the lines, 13 on Army, 19 on Connecticut, 17 on Rice versus 50, 50, 50, 30. This is an over team. This I don't think is. Thus makes North Texas very playable. It makes the over. I don't know if they get over, it's going to be North Texas doing most of the heavy lifting. That's why we go into the last 5. It then changes the over into something else. All right, Marshall, Georgia State. Why am I this? Because we just won a bunch of money on Coastal Carolina, Georgia State, the Z team. Can Marshall do the same? I have them as an over team. Marshall minus 7, 63.5. Let's take a look at Marshall, 4-5. So Marshall scores 32 a game, but let's see if that's real. And they lost to Lou Lafayette, 54-51, 48 on Old D, who's pretty good, 40 on Texas State, who's pretty good. My Coastal Carolina got them, 44-27. And 23 on James Madison, who's very good. So the worst they did was 23 on James Madison, but against some of these, they're putting up 50 points. We know what Georgia State's all about. They just made us a boatload of money. 27. They get 30 on South Alabama, 24. Notice they lose every game, and notice every game except for James Madison, they give up basically 40 points. Marshall is minus 7. Wow. That's what we just got to check injuries, but that's our play if everything is right. Again, Georgia State. Now the only difference is Coastal Carolina was at home, and they were surprised because they had scored 40 points in 4 of the last 5, even though I had them as a W, because you got to take the whole schedule in. That's why if you can get the last 5, you get a truer look. Plus, it's all conference play. Marshall looks good. Yeah, the only thing is Marshall with a 33 defense, but Coastal had what was Coastal's defense? It was a 28. You know, let's see. All right, let's skip that. UCF goes to Texas Tech. Good luck with Texas Tech. What a team. Texas Tech minus 24 and 48.5. I think Texas Tech's better than Indiana. After watching Indiana, Penn State, and Texas Tech, BYU, Texas Tech would beat Indiana. Indiana's too conservative. Tech 24, 48.5. We got an A team in Tech with a 12 defense. UCF's an E team with a 20 defense. UCF not too impressive. Tech, it's a little big number, 24 down to 18. It's doable. They just beat BYU by 20. Oklahoma and Alabama. Here we go. Oklahoma, Alabama minus 6.5, 45.5. Alabama, the A team, 17 defense. Oklahoma, the B team, to 14. Mateer does nothing. One guy on the radio loved Mateer from Washington State. I didn't see it, and he sucks. Alabama, really good. Alabama at home, really good. Just played an emotional game with LSU, beat them, but they had trouble. I'm not really sure which way this goes, over or under. Oklahoma, I'm not sure how much they're going to score on. So if Oklahoma can't score in Alabama, you bet Alabama. If they're going to score, we know Alabama scores, then you go over. So it's always 4 sides to the coin. Iowa goes to USC. USC minus 6.5, 49. I don't remember any Rose Bowls, Iowa and USC. I don't recall that. USC 6.5, 49.5. Iowa, the B team with the 13 defense. USC an A team with the 21. I like USC at home. Iowa lost to Oregon in a tough game, but that was at Iowa, and now they got to go fly to the West Coast. Again, that flight. I like USC even against anybody except for Ohio State. Our San Jose State plays the Nevada Wolfpack, not the Wolfpack on hangover. San Jose State minus 8.5, 52.5. I'd say we get revenge with San Jose State this year. Nevada is terrible. They're a Z team with the 30 defense. San Jose State's more of an over team with the 30. They do score very well, and they should all they got to do is win by a field goal against Nevada. We'll see. Penn State, Michigan State. What Penn State team shows up? Penn State minus 7. They basically did nothing against Indiana except for the fourth quarter. Total of 50. Michigan State's an over team with a 31 defense. Penn State's an E team with a 22. Gosh, I don't know why Penn State's favored here. They've lost 6 in a row. Okay, they played Indiana close. They got killed by Ohio State. They lost to fucking Northwestern at home. They got killed by UCLA, and they lost to Oregon was the beginning of it. So, yeah, they had some heart against Indiana, but now they're at Michigan State. I'm not buying that. I'm not taking Penn State minus 1 with the backup quarterback and a new coach. No, thank you. NC State at Miami. Miami minus 14.5, 55.5. Miami's lost 2. They lost to SMU and Louisville, just like last year. And NC State's an over team with a 30 defense. Miami an A with a 15. This should be 55 to over 49. Could be doable. Miami should have no problem scoring with the 30 defense of NC State, but NC State should score on Miami. It's not that good. My Haynes King, Georgia Tech, they were off last week. Minus 16 and 58 to Boston College, who is now 1-9. They played Notre Dame relatively good. I don't see them playing Georgia. Georgia Tech runs it down your throat. BC with a 34 defense. Georgia Tech 23. Haynes King, good coach and key. He made a joke. They said, "Oh, his name's being put up for some of these higher jobs," and he says, "Well, it's nice to get the publicity or something." Or I haven't heard that, or something. He made a comment about it, but it was pretty funny. I can't remember it. Georgia Tech here, 16. The thing we like about Georgia Tech, they just run it down your throat. Haynes King's one of these good. He's like a good Army Navy runner. He doesn't have like 25 touchdowns and 2 picks. He's not Daggio, right? But he's got a lot of. He knows how to run. He knows the option. He keeps the clock going. He keeps the ball, the first downs moving. He knows how to keep the chains rolling. So he's a very good quarterback like that. 16 BC, 34 defense. All right, Virginia and Duke. Dookie 6.5 and 58.5. We got to see how our quarterback's doing on Virginia. He got hurt. He left the game in the second quarter. That's why we lost last week. Virginia's an A team with the 21. Duke's an over with the 29. If the quarterback on Virginia is playing, this is a very easy over. If he's not, we don't know what to do. Texas State against my Southern Miss team, Marshall. Southern Miss 6.5, 64.5. A lot of good games this week because I'm only going through the good ones, and it's like every game. Southern Miss, the B team, 24 defense. They're very good. They're 7-2. They didn't win a game last year, and they get the new coach and quarterback from Marshall, and they're 7-2. Texas State over team with the 34 defense. They're going to score. Southern Miss, over 64.5 is 58.5. Maybe we go over. It's hard to play Southern Miss even here because Texas State can light you up. So we'll have to see. App State, James Madison. James Madison, the A team, minus 20 and 53 is your total. James Madison, App State, an over team with a 27 defense. James Madison, an A with the 16. Go James Madison. Beat Navy. All right. Western Kentucky, 13.5, 56.5. Pretty explosive team. Middle Tennessee, the Z team. So this should be bet against the Z team, I would think. Okay. Maryland, Illinois. Illinois minus 14 and 53.5. Illinois scores a lot. Good quarterback, Altmaier. Over team. Maryland and E. 23 defense. Pretty good quarterback themselves. Illinois starting to show some defense. Total of 53. You can go over 47. Food for thought. All right. Memphis and East Carolina. This is a good game. This is an A game. East Carolina minus 3, 59.5. East Car we had against Charlotte, and they won by 30. We're laying 22. Memphis, an A team, have some good wins this year. A 21 defense. East Car 17. This could be a tease the dog. It could be an over. We'll see. What is New Mexico State doing playing at Tennessee? Are they kidding? Tennessee minus 40. Holy shit. And 61.5. I think Tennessee's going to kill them. New Mexico State's a W team with a 25 defense. Tennessee's an over with the 31. Tennessee at home. Good night. Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern. Let's go back to dance with whom brung you. Georgia Southern 2.5, 59.5. Coastal is an over team, 28 defense. Georgia Southern, an over team with a 34 defense. Coastal will be able to move on them. They've been scoring well. Georgia Southern, pretty good, strong offense. Total of 59, maybe over, maybe Coastal Carolina. We take as the dog here. Utah and Baylor, another very good game. We got Utah minus 9.5 on the road at Baylor. Excuse me. Total of 60. Utah very explosive. Baylor very explosive. Utah the 18 with the 14 defense. Very strong defense. Baylor and over with 29. I don't think you can stop Robertson. That Utah at Baylor is going to shut him out. He'll be in the 20s probably. Utah should be in the 30s at least. Utah, you can lay 3.5. Seems probably reasonable. Total 60. Again, when you play a team like Utah with this strong defense, you don't know to go over under. You probably normally want to go over with teams like a Coastal Carolina, like Mississippi State, Georgia. Mississippi State scores a lot, but has a 30-some defense. I think you want to look at the 30-some defenses as your over more than trying to rely on Utah with the 14 defense to not kill Robertson. Florida and Ole Miss, 16.5 and 53.5. Florida, an under team, 22 defense. Ole Miss, A team with the 19 defense. This is 53.5. I was going to say this is probably a good under. Again, you got to be careful going under with Ole Miss, who can light you up. Florida, under team with the 20. They don't score that much. They played Georgia a good game. They beat Texas at home. And then they lose to some other game. I think they got killed by Kentucky. It's like, does it really matter that much where the game's at? That it's the same field, right? You're blocking and tackling. But without the crowd's noise, we can't play. Purdue goes to Washington off the loss. Washington pretty pissed. Washington minus 16, 54. Washington much better at home. Purdue just played Ohio State, and I told you Ohio State wasn't going to cover, and they didn't. No, I did not bet them, but I just had that gut instinct. 100 million years of gut instinct I got. Washington an A with the 20 defense. Purdue an E with the 27. Washington wins the game. Purdue, after Ohio State, I don't see them getting up, trailing to Washington and playing a good game there. Utah State and Vegas. Vegas 4.5. Jesus Christ, 71. Holy shit. I have over circled from my looks. They're both over teams with 30 defense. And I really wouldn't be surprised if you get over 71. Delaware, Sam Houston. Why? Because Sam Houston's a Z team. Delaware minus 8.5. 56.5. Delaware an over team with a 31 defense. Sam Houston's a Z team, which means they have no offense and a 38 defense. I don't know. Maybe we could take the Blue Hens, the fake Michigans. All right, game of the day, Texas, Georgia. Georgia, minus 6. Are we surprised? And 47.5. Arch Manning playing a little bit better. Not as good as Daggio or Robertson at Baylor. Georgia an 18 with a 19 defense, which I question. Texas, a B team with a 16. So the only reason Georgia didn't go more points because Blake Shapen got hurt in the game, and the backup came in to run for 2 touchdowns. Georgia's lighting it up pretty good. Texas is lighting it up. Texas is not a 16 defense, not the one that played Mississippi State. They were when they played Oklahoma. Something's happened, injuries or something. They are not a 16 defense. I think this game goes way over. I don't know. UCLA goes to Ohio State. This was a Rose Bowl a couple times. Jesus Christ, Ohio State minus 31, 48.5. UCLA's got the dodgeball player at quarterback. He wants to run all the time. Ohio State's seen running quarterbacks. They're an over team with a 30 defense, and I made them an over team watching them score. Penn State, the Maryland game, Michigan State, they played over games. Indiana killed them, and then last week against Nebraska with the freshman quarterback, Nebraska they ran it down their throat. Ohio State will run it down their throats also. I can't play Ohio State laying 31 to a pretty good UCLA with the new offensive coordinator. But you're playing a 7 defense. Jesus. I mean, you got to go. You can't. How do you lay 31? UCLA is not that bad anymore with the new coach. So I don't know. Total 48.5. I think that we're going to treat Ohio State like we treated Georgia. Anytime this number's near 50, we go under. And with Georgia, it won every week. Old Mississippi State goes to Missouri. I'm so excited. Missouri's favored. Thank you, God. 50 minus 7, 51.5. The question is Blake Shapen, Mississippi State's quarterback. If he plays, this is your free play. I don't know. It's probably too early. If Shapen plays Mississippi State, they just played Georgia. They just played Texas. Okay, so yeah, I know Mississippi State's got a weak defense, but we're not betting them on that. We're betting them because they got a strong offense. But Missouri doesn't have their quarterback. So I don't know. Do we take Mississippi State in 13 if we have Blake Shapen? I don't see how Missouri's going to put up 30 points on Mississippi State with the backup. He didn't look that good. So we'll have to see. They got killed by A&M. Their quarterback, I don't know, it was like 38-20 or something. So Mississippi State will light them up, but we got to see if the quarterback's playing. TCU, BYU, another very good game. We've got BYU 5.5, 51.5. TCU, a B team with a 24 defense, and BYU, an A team with an 18, got killed by Texas Tech. TCU lost to a Iowa State team. Don't fuck with Iowa State. 5.5, 51.5. So with this, I think BYU is the better team here. I think laying 5.5, I think they get the W. Boise goes to San Jose State. San Jose State's -2 and 41.5. San Diego State, I thought was good. Then they go to Hawaii and get killed, and I'm like, maybe they're not an A team. So let's see who San Diego State's played. Again, you can't just look at stats. You have to go inside the numbers. So we've got San Diego State beating Colorado State, who stinks, Nevada, who stinks. Fresno State's 23-0's good. Wyoming, they beat 24-7, who's pretty good defense. What the hell happened in Hawaii? 38-6. Holy shit. Boise, on the other hand, Got killed by Fresno State 30-7, beating Nevada 24-3 is meaningless. Vegas 56-31, New Mexico 41-20, and then Notre Dame killed them 28-7. So I don't know. I see a 7 on with Fresno State and 7 with Notre Dame, 24 in Nevada. So Boise doesn't excite me. They're not a live dog, but San Diego State, I'm really, what the hell happened with Hawaii? Probably a lot of turnovers. That's what always happens. In their last game, Wyoming, Fresno State 4 and 38.5. And I don't really, Fresno State, probably pretty good. Could be good. Wyoming's an under team, good defense, but they're better at home. And Fresno State just pounded Boise, so maybe you go there. All right. That is your college football. Now we're going to take a look at Vegas. So we've got some big games. You've got Georgia and Texas. We've got Oklahoma and Alabama. Let's see. We've got Utah and Baylor, Ole Miss and Florida. Ohio State gets UCLA. We got BYU TCU. We've got, let's see, Arizona goes to Cincinnati, South Carolina A&M, Michigan Northwestern from Wrigley Field, Indy. Now let's see, Indy laying 30 to Wisconsin after the narrow escape. Notre Dame, Pitt, Notre Dame 10.5. Let's see who's Pitt's quarterback. Minnesota, Oregon Friday night. That's about it. So it's a pretty decent. Iowa goes to USC. So we got some good games next week to go with. Hey, Real D. Appreciate you giving me that onion remedy to put onions on my feet when sleeping. I woke up next day, feel refreshed. Appreciate your wisdom. Well, thank you, Real D. Yeah, you say I watched the Good Doctor. All I'm really doing, like she gives, right? So go to Eternal Health and then check, for diabetes. This answers avocado, almonds, dark chocolate. That's what, but it's really her talking. I'm just saving you time from searching the YouTube, trying to figure out what's a good one and not. But yeah, the onions work for me. I mean, you haven't heard me hacking cough where I'm dying and I see stars and everything, but it's your feet. Your feet are very, I think they're sensitive, but I think they collect a lot of stuff. So I think the feet are a really good place. That's why I got to be careful of them. But yeah, they're real good. All right. But you're welcome, Real D. All right. The magic died.
Hey, if you conceal carrying, you're probably going to want this. The Vanish holster in camo.
Nobody
and
cares.
Right now you get one for free.
What if I told you that 10 billionaires turned America's playground into a corporate wasteland where a beer costs $20, source parking runs $40, and the dealers are being replaced by iPads? The Las Vegas Strip wasn't killed by bad luck or changing times. It was systematically gutted by a handful of ultra-wealthy owners who saw your memories as line items on a spreadsheet. While tourists keep flooding in, they're walking into a trap engineered by Wall Street titans who've turned Sin City into the world's most expensive disappointment. Today, we're revealing the billionaires who destroyed everything that made Vegas magical. Number 10, Phil Ruff.
Okay, I'm gonna skip down to the last one. The last one are the oligarch, the Vanguards, the BlackRocks, Blackstones. I think that explains it very well, and we can kind of go through some of these if you want. It's 30 minutes. I don't want to play 30 minutes, but let's get to the ending here. The last one I thought was a good one.
Apollo Global Management, Vici Properties, Blackstone. These aren't house matters more than owning properties. Why buy casinos when you can control how they're marketed, who performs there, and what prices customers expect to pay? His IAC empire proved Vegas could be corporatized without touching a single poker chip. Barry Diller transformed Vegas into a subdivision of American corporate entertainment. Under his influence, the city stopped being a
The
unique
Giants
destination
coach.
and became just
How did
another
they
content
hire him in the
delivery
first
platform
place?
optimized for maximum extraction. He proved you don't need to own Vegas to control it. You just need to own the systems that feed
We're getting
it.
to the
But
last
even
one.
Diller's
The one I
media
wanted to
manipulation pales compared to our final billionaires, the ones who've turned the entire strip into their personal ATM.
All right.
Number one,
Listen
the
up.
private equity titans, the true puppeteers, Apollo Global Management, Vici Properties, Blackstone. These aren't household names, but they're the real owners of Las Vegas. Together, these private equity firms control over $60 billion in strip assets. They don't run casinos, they own them like stock portfolios. And that transformation from entertainment destination to financial spreadsheet has finally killed what made Vegas special. Here's their playbook. Buy casino properties using borrowed money. Split the real estate from operations. Rent the buildings back to operators at crushing rates. Extract massive fees. Sell to another fund in 5 years. Repeat. In this model, you're not a guest or even a customer. You're a revenue unit whose lifetime value gets calculated against acquisition costs. Vici Properties, spun from Caesars bankruptcy, now owns Caesars Palace, Harrah's, Venetian, and MGM Grand's real estate. They collect $2.1 billion in annual rent. Apollo Global owns the operations of Venetian and Palazzo through a $6.4 billion deal. Blackstone owns Bellagio, Cosmopolitan, and Arias buildings. Combined, these firms control 75% of strip property.
All right, I want to comment on that and we'll get back to it. So they own it. They bought it probably because of COVID. Paid $6 billion for it. And then they're charging rent. I don't know who's paying the rent. If you're the owner, you're paying the rent. If you own a house, okay, I guess you're leasing the house out to a tenant like me here. I'm paying rent on this apartment. I don't own it. Why would you do that if you're Caesar's Palace? You out of your fucking mind? But then these guys are charging them astronomical rent. Why would you agree to that? Are you an idiot? So if you want to raise my rent to $10,000 a month, I say, see you later. Bye. Why would they do that? I mean, these are clearly idiots doing that. But why does Apollo Capital and BlackRock and Blackstone charge so much? And then you're stuck with, well, the only way I'm going to be able to pay rent is to raise prices. And that's part of why these everything costs so much there, is so they can pay rent. Now, did they sell it and are paying rent is beyond me. Incredibly stupid. But then if you have no customers, you don't have money to pay rent. So the guy kind of says, well, they got to pay rent no matter what. No, they don't have to pay rent no matter what. If there's no customers and you got revenue in, you go bankrupt. And you say, I can't pay. And then these guys who paid $6 billion have just lost a ton of money because they're charging rent. They own the properties, right? So the people paying the rent have to pay the rent. But at the end of the day, so I'm in an apartment. I own the rent for the apartment, but I don't own the apartment. And if you can't get any renters, you lose. The owner loses. So the owner here, as Vegas is collapsing and nobody's going, yes, these people cannot pay rent. But on the other hand, the people owning it are fucked too, because they can charge whatever they want for rent. But if nobody can afford it, they're not going to get their rent in. They're not going to get their money back, which again leads me to the story of who do I think's really doing this is China. So China's crashing this. I'm sure China's with Vanguard and BlackRock and all this, and they're running it, and then they're going to be able to pick up Caesar's Palace for $25. That's my theory of what's going on here. But again, why would you, if you own it, why did you sell it? Probably COVID. Now you're paying rent, can't afford it. You've raised prices to pay the rent, but nobody comes because you can't. The customer will only pay so much. The rent's too high. You know, you got to say goodbye to the Vanguards and that and say, I can't pay you. And then they're stuck with $6 billion that they can't pay. So you think the Vanguards and the BlackRocks and the Blackstones are clever. They're not, they're idiots, because now they'll never get their money back because nobody's going to, if nobody's there, who are they going to pay rent? Well, we'll get it for conventions. Bullshit, the conventions. As the conventions become more expensive, nobody's going to go to Vegas for a convention. They don't gamble, so you're losing out on all the food, liquor. Well, they charge a lot for the food. Well, believe me, these companies aren't going to keep going to Vegas for conventions and paying these high dollar amounts. Brian Dable got fired. He's the Giants coach. He's terrible. Why they hired him in the first place, I don't know. Why he didn't keep Russell Wilson, I don't know. Russell Wilson would have won the game yesterday. All right, back to this.
That's not a market. That's a monopoly run by spreadsheets. The human cost is staggering.
I don't really understand when he says spreadsheets, what he means. I know what a spreadsheet is, but I don't know what that has to do with this. Very confusing.
When private equity owns your casino, every decision flows through Excel models. A dealer making $15 hourly looks like an expense to minimize. Free drinks become revenue leakage. Renovations get deferred because they hurt quarterly returns. These firms typically hold properties for 5 to 7 years, just long enough to extract value, never long enough to invest in long-term quality. Their innovation? Financial engineering that makes everything worse. They pioneered sale leasebacks that burden casinos with rent. They created REITs that prioritize shareholders over customers. They invented fee structures that guarantee they profit whether casinos succeed or fail. When COVID hit, these firms still collected rent while workers got fired and services disappeared. The spreadsheet empire manifests everywhere. That $25 minimum blackjack table? Algorithms determined that's optimal revenue per square foot. The $30 parking? Data showed you'll pay it anyway. The disappearing free play and comps? Machine learning proved they weren't generating sufficient ROI. Every degraded...
See, that everything he just said is bullshit. Nobody's paying $30 parking. You get the one-time guest who comes in, but believe me, he's looking for a place to park for free. Nobody is paying for the extra food, the expense. That's why the strip's empty. So what he just says bullshit. The algorithms say $25 blackjack is optimal or $50. That's bullshit. You might get a few blackjack players, but most of them are $5, $10. $5, you fill the table. 25, you get nobody there. And when you do get there, you cannot say, oh, this guy or we get the whales in, they'll play. That's a bunch of bullshit. Then you change the odds. You're not getting anybody. Anybody who's got money, who's intelligent, is not playing $25 blackjack or $50 blackjack or whatever. You're only getting very good players, so that's got to hurt your model. But I don't buy anything they just said. The algorithms and the spreadsheet said this and that. That's a bunch of bullshit. It might work once, but in the long run, that's why you have nobody there gambling, nobody there eating, nobody there staying. And the conventions who might have went there are now, it's too expensive. Or look, they're not paying $400 for a room for a convention. What a bunch of crap. That's just bullshit.
Experience traces back to a PowerPoint deck in a Manhattan boardroom. These faceless firms achieved what no individual billionaire could. They turned Vegas into pure financial abstraction. Mark Rowan, Apollo's CEO worth $6.5 billion,
Nobody
probably
cares.
couldn't name a single Vegas dealer. John Gray, Blackstone's president worth $7.2 billion, likely never played a hand of blackjack with regular people. They don't need to. Their Excel models tell them everything. Required to extract maximum profit from your memories. This is how Vegas truly died.
What he just says is a bunch of bullshit. Your spreadsheets are only as good as how you create them. Even though I have spreadsheets to give me my football data, and I can tell you if it's an A team or a Z team, I still got to go into the games and tweak what they really are, like Coastal Carolina last week. I have them as a W. They don't score. I go in and they're scoring 40 points a game, 4 out of the last 5, and they put up 40 on Saturday. What are you talking about? You always are tweaking. The market's always moving. That's bullshit. So maybe we'll go back and go back to one of the earlier ones.
So we were going to give this to our son this year for Christmas as a stocking stuffer, but honestly, we're probably going to...
Yeah, we don't care.
Merged, owning 100% of a cleaned company. Investors lost everything. The Fertitta kept their empire. That's when locals learned that being Vegas-born doesn't mean you care about Vegas people. Post-bankruptcy station casinos became unrecognizable. The beloved $4.99 steak special at Palace Station? Gone. The generous slot club rewards that kept retirees coming back? Slashed by 40%. The free play offers that made locals feel valued? Replaced by tier-based incentives, requiring thousands in losses to earn a free buffet. Even employee benefits got butchered, with health insurance costs doubling while wages stayed frozen. The numbers tell a story of betrayal. Between 2011 and 2019, station casinos' profits rose 67%, while their customer loyalty scores dropped to the lowest in company history. Red Rock Casino, once the crown jewel for upscale locals, now charges $30 valet parking and $18 cocktails to people who live 5 miles away.
So do you think people continue to pay that? That's bullshit. They charge the $30, but I know people that live there and they're I'm going to park here where it's free, or I'll get dropped off there or something. My friend went to the Raider game. He lives there, and he said, "Oh, I found a place that it's cheap to park, and it's a half mile away, and then a cheap place to get a hot dog, and then that." So it's a bunch of bullshit that you can charge $30, but you can charge $20 for a steak. Doesn't mean people are going to buy it. You can charge $45 for the ribs. Doesn't mean anybody's going to buy it. You can charge what you want. The question is, do you have a market? And again, this is the market. If you're up here, you don't have you're over market. It all boils down to this. So you can charge $50 for parking. Where's your market? It's at $5. It's really at zero. Nobody wants to pay for parking. Like I say, you go to Kroger's. If they started charging you for parking, there wouldn't be anybody there. It's something that you can't. It's not a product. It's not. It's just, you want me to shop in your store, you can't charge me for parking. And if you want me to gamble in your casino or eat in your restaurants, you can't charge me for parking. If you want me to stay at your hotel, you can't charge me resort fees. And that's so if Kroger starts charging for parking, then I'm not going to pay for parking. I'm not going to shop in your store, and they'll close. You can't fuck people over like that. People aren't idiots. People have budgets. The money is worthless anyway, as we know, but you can't start fucking around like that.
Valley Ranch, beloved for its resort-style pool, now demands $40 weekend entry from Henderson residents. Here's what stings most. Fertitta used his local credibility as cover for exploitation. He pushed anti-union campaigns while paying himself $290 million in dividends. He lobbied against neighborhood casino competition while opening new properties in working-class areas, knowing residents had nowhere else to go. The company that once sponsored Little League teams now squeezes every penny from the communities that supported them through 3 generations. Frank Fertitta III. Third proved something devastating. Even homegrown billionaires will sacrifice their neighbors for profit. His net worth hit $2.6 billion by treating lifelong customers like tourist marks. The man who should have protected local Vegas instead showed outside corporations exactly how to exploit it. And speaking of exploitation disguised as luxury, that brings us to his cousin, whose flashier brand of greed operates on an even grander scale. Number 5. Tillman Fertitta, the luxury illusionist. Tillman Fertitta wants you to know he's rich. His reality show was literally called Billion Dollar Buyer. His yacht, the longest in America, costs $250 million. His Golden Nugget casinos plaster his name everywhere like a designer label. But behind the flash, Fertitta represents something insidious. The billionaire who sells you luxury packaging with discount execution. When Fertitta bought the Golden Nugget Las Vegas for $386 million in to run casinos, the Blackstone CEO, worth $48 billion, wanted something far more profitable, to own them like rental properties. In 2019, his private equity firm bought the real estate of Bellagio, MGM Grand, and Mandalay Bay for $4.2 billion, then immediately rented them back to MGM. With that single deal.
Why would MGM agree to that? Why did they sell it? Was it COVID? But then why would they agree to then pay rent? So they needed money, so that's why they sold it. But then the rent, they didn't put a contract in saying, well, this is all the rent we can pay. Sounds really like they're missing something there. Why sell it? Okay, I have a house, I can't afford it. So I'm going to sell the house and then I'm going to rent it back from the guy who bought it from me because now I have money because he bought it from me. I don't think so. That sounds really strange.
Schwartzman transformed Vegas from an entertainment destination into a financial instrument. Here's how the scheme works. Blackstone buys the physical casino buildings, then charges the operators massive rent to use them. MGM now pays Blackstone $292 million yearly just to operate in buildings MGM originally built. That rent payment must be made whether the casino profits or loses. Whether a pandemic...
Now, that's a false statement. If the casino doesn't have any customers, which is what's happening now, they will not pay them. Yes, we know you owe your mortgage, and if you're working or not, but if you're not working and you can't afford it, you stop paying it. And you get out of it and you say, I can't pay it, or I go bankrupt, or whatever you need to do to get it. But in this case, don't tell me MGM is stupid enough to sell it, and then no matter what, they have to pay the rent. Who's running these things? What idiots are running? The whole point of the house, if you own a house, the whole point is that it's an asset, and you wouldn't sell it and pay rent. That's ridiculous. No, you buy the house as the asset. So I don't know what they're talking about that these guys would own MGM, sell it to these guys. Something's missing here in this guy's analytics. Either A, they're paying rent with the money he paid them, and how much money are they getting, right? MGM is in Detroit. It's in other places. Is that a problem? I'm sure it's something that they should be able to pay the rent for. So we'll see. But I can't believe MGM's this stupid, and to just say, well, whatever the rent is, we got to pay it. No, that makes no sense. Again, if it's too much, just don't sign hey, I can't afford it. Sorry. But if I'm stupid enough to sell the land and the property to Vanguard and then pay rent on it to the people I just sold it to, you got to be, what was the point of that? These people should not be running hotels and casinos if this is what they are. And then they totally missed the concept. Well, we'll raise prices so we can pay the rent. No. You lower prices to pay the rent. You don't raise them. No, you raise prices, you have nobody there, which is what you got. So now you got no revenue coming in to pay the rent. On the other hand, if you have, if you lower, you get everybody in and you make more money, which is how you can pay the rent. But you wouldn't raise costs. You wouldn't raise prices on everything. That's not going to draw people in, and they're not going to pay more. And don't tell me people want to pay $30 for parking or $60 for a drink or $100 in resort fees. Bullshit. Nobody wants to pay it. We're all very money conscious and we're all looking for bargains. That's why Vegas was because you could get the $2 shrimp cocktail and you got free drinks if you played the slot machines. I mean, who's playing the slot machines now? You don't have anybody there. You're losing all this revenue because you've jacked up the price of your freaking resort fee and parking. You keep everybody out. And like I said, I was there about 5-6 years ago on a Friday night, Michigan Ohio State week, and I go, and at 10 o'clock there was nothing open. There was no. I was hungry, right? Because I'm on Michigan time. Nothing open. I had to walk across the street to CVS to find a salad and some honeydew and a pop or something to eat because I was hungry. So I said before they wanted to bring you into the casino with the cheap drinks and the cheap food, and then you'd lose it gambling. Now it's you got to leave the casino to eat. Who's running this place? What idiot is running this place? It's just amazing. All right.
Hits or tourists vanish. It's guaranteed income for Wall Street, guaranteed pressure for operators. This model.
Should these glasses be illegal in the U.S.? Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants a pair.
Street guaranteed.
All right. First of all, it's not guaranteed. It's only guaranteed if they're valuable and they have money coming in that they can pay it. If they don't have money coming in to pay it, it isn't guaranteed. This guy doesn't know what guaranteed means. You can have a contract. If I don't have the money coming in, I go bankrupt. It's not guaranteed. What the fuck's he talking about?
Pressure for operators. This model broke something fundamental about Vegas. Casino owners used to think long-term, investing in properties they'd run for decades. Now they're just tenants trying to make quarterly rent payments to New York landlords. Every dollar spent on renovation, entertainment, or customer service is a dollar not going toward rent. Guess what gets cut first? The financial engineering gets worse. In 2021, Blackstone bought Aria and Vidara for $3.9 billion using the same strategy. Then they grabbed the Cosmopolitan for $5.6 billion.
They could have it.
By 2023, Blackstone controlled $40 billion in Vegas real estate, making them the Strip's largest landlord. They don't care if you have fun. They care that rent checks clear. The consequences ripple everywhere. When operators face massive rent obligations, they compensate by raising prices, cutting staff, and eliminating anything that doesn't generate.
So as we just said, that doesn't work. That's not how you get more money in. So how are they paying rent now? Because they're not getting any revenue. So I assume they're all going bankrupt. They're laying off people. So that was a great strategy to sell your buildings and your property and pay rent on it. Wow, what a great strategy that was. How stupid are these people? It just blows my mind how dumb people are.
Immediate revenue. Free lounges disappear. Comped drinks vanish. Service quality crumbles. The very things that
People
made Vegas
don't
special
go.
become unaffordable luxuries when Wall Street demands its cut first. Schwartzman turned Vegas into a real estate investment trust with slot machines. His innovation wasn't building anything or creating experiences. It was recognizing that Vegas properties could be financialized, like shopping malls or...
Bullshit. It is not what it's happening. You raise the prices. So let's say you're a shopping mall. Let's say you're Kroger's. You make the prices too high, you don't get anybody shopping. How does that work? It doesn't work. That's not the answer. Raising prices doesn't get you more money, gets you less. Once you stop, the people stop going, they find somewhere else to go. And now you're fucked. Because even if you lower your prices, nobody knows you lower your prices because nobody's going there. You want traffic and let them buy and keep the prices low. That's why you got Aldi's and Walmart's. That's why they were. Now, yeah, maybe the millionaires go shop at Kroger's no matter what the price, but I doubt it. They're always price conscious. Even the millionaires are price conscious. That's what they are. That's how they got their million, was being, well, usually crooked, but by being price conscious. Everybody's price conscious. Bobby's price conscious. He gets $1 million a year from the New York Mets. although it's not worth $1 million, it's worth 10,000, but he gets it every year, and he's still, looking for deals, shopping. He won't go to Vegas and pay all that shit. And he's a millionaire. So there you go. But I'm tired of this guy. They're going to get paid no matter what. That's not true. They're going to raise prices. Then they don't have anybody there. Nobody's coming to Vegas because the prices are too much. Well, they'll get it on the what do you call it? The conventions. Well, no, you won't, because they'll move the conventions to Arizona and other Utah, whatever, Colorado. They're not going to have their convention in Vegas if everything gets too expensive. It's $400 a room for conventions. They're not going to pay it. They're businesses. They're getting hurt by the inflation and the recession, just like everybody else, and they won't go. Vegas will be broke. All these Wall Street guys will go broke because they're going to pay all this money. They'll never get it back. And that's what's really happening.
Office buildings, extract rent, minimize investment, let someone else deal with customers. Pure parasitic capitalism.
Bullshit.
This Yale-educated financier revolutionized Vegas by never actually operating a casino.
I didn't know he was Yale. That explains a lot. They're all Keynesians. That's bullshit. What this guy's saying is bullshit. Again, it's back to the market. You're trying to raise, who raises costs to make higher income? Who does that? Has it ever worked? And quit calling it capitalism. That's not capitalism. That's socialism. Capitalism is about the market and finding the market. This is not capitalism. This is extortion. This is, it's not, I don't know what it is. It's not capitalism.
Ownership matters more than operation. That collecting rent beats creating entertainment. While tourists pay $20 beers and $50 resort fees, Schwartzman collects billions in rent from his Connecticut mansion. He's the invisible hand squeezing every Vegas experience.
I don't like that.
The landlord you never see, who ensures
This is the best
That's
gift
not
I've
what an
gotten in
invisible
years.
hand means.
It works like a bookmark, and with the strap,
landlord you never see, who ensures your trip costs more and delivers less.
He's a silent
Number 3,
partner.
James Dolan, the Sphere visionary and distraction. James Dolan spent $2.3 billion building a giant LED ball in the desert, and everyone called him a visionary. The MSG Sphere, opened in 2023, stands 366 feet tall, contains 160,000 speakers, and wraps 580,000 square feet of LED screens around its exterior. It's the most expensive entertainment venue ever built. It's also everything wrong with modern Vegas, a massive, expensive distraction from the city's hollowing core. The Sphere perfectly captures Vegas's new philosophy. Spend billions on spectacle while the actual casino experience rots. Dolan, already worth $2 billion from Madison Square Garden operations, convinced Vegas that what tourists really needed wasn't better odds, cheaper rooms, or quality service. They needed to pay $400 to watch U2 inside a giant television. Opening night tickets hit $2,500 on secondary markets. Even nosebleed seats for regular shows start at $195. Here's the real insult. While Dolan's Sphere consumed billions in construction and tax breaks, the casinos around it continued deteriorating. The Venetian, sitting in Sphere's literal shadow, still charges resort fees for amenities that barely function.
Well, and okay, the problem is if you keep everybody out and everybody goes somewhere else, nobody is going to the Sphere because there's nobody fucking there. The people who live there aren't going to the Sphere. It's for the people who fly in to gamble. Oh, but they're not flying in. So the Sphere will be broke. You're killing everybody with these high costs over market. Again, it always is this, and you go here and you kill it, right? That's simple Austrian economics, right? You've got to be where your market is, and you don't have a market willing to pay for parking and resort fees and food and drink. So this guy's an idiot because, well, it sounds like he didn't use any of his own money, which is probably what he did in New York. Sounds like a socialist also.
Palazzo's rooms haven't seen meaningful renovation since 2007. But hey, At least you can watch a $50 million commercial for Postmates on the Sphere's exterior while you walk past. The economics expose the madness. The Sphere needs to generate $600 million annually just to break even. That means constantly booking acts at prices only the wealthy can afford, further pushing Vegas away from average Americans. Meanwhile, construction debt and operational costs ensure that even if the Sphere succeeds, the profits flow to Wall Street bondholders, not Vegas workers or visitors.
Who owns
Dolan's Sphere
bonds?
isn't just a building, it's a metaphor. Vegas used to be about human experiences. Dealers who knew your name, shows you could afford spontaneously, the thrill of possible fortune. Now it's about staring at screens, overwhelming your senses with technology, and paying premium prices for passive consumption. The Sphere represents Vegas's transformation from participatory playground to expensive movie theater. The bitter irony? Tourists post more Instagram photos of the Sphere's exterior than anything inside it. Dolan built a $2.3 billion advertisement for itself, a monument to spectacle without substance. It's Vegas's most honest attraction, gorgeous from the outside, overpriced inside, and ultimately just another way to separate you from your money. But while Dolan built his expensive distraction in plain sight, another billionaire worked quietly behind the scenes to transform Vegas entertainment into something even more corporate. Number 2, Barry Diller, the quiet power broker. Barry Diller never built a casino, never owned a hotel, barely visits Vegas. Yet the 82-year-old media mogul, worth $4.8 billion, architected the corporate entertainment takeover that stripped Vegas of its do-take character. Through IAC's web of media companies and strategic MGM board positions, Diller pushed Vegas toward a model where every show, restaurant, and experience serves corporate synergy instead of customer joy. Diller's influence operates through connection and control. His IAC conglomerate owns Expedia, controlling how millions book Vegas trips. He served on MGM's board during its critical consolidation phase. His media relationships determined which Vegas shows got national coverage. Without owning a single slot machine, Diller shaped how Vegas sells itself to America, and what he sold was corporate uniformity. Consider how Vegas entertainment transformed under Diller's influence. Unique, weird, only in Vegas shows got replaced by touring Broadway productions and celebrity residencies. Why? Because corporate partnerships demand scalable, predictable, cross-marketable content. That quirky magician who performed at Tropicana for 20 years doesn't fit the multimedia strategy, but a Lady Gaga residency that drives Spotify streams, merchandise sales, and HBO specials, that's synergy. The consolidation goes deeper. Diller pushed Vegas toward entertainment monopolies where Live Nation controls concerts, Cirque du Soleil dominates productions, and celebrity chef corporations run restaurants. Independent operators can't compete with these entertainment conglomerates, marketing budgets, and corporate partnerships. The result? Every Vegas venue starts feeling identical, offering the same sanitized, focus-grouped experiences approved by corporate committees. His fingerprints are everywhere. That $30 cocktail priced by algorithm? Diller's data-driven pricing philosophy. The identical restaurant menus across different casinos? His brand standardization strategy? The death of afternoon shows and lounge acts? His profit optimization models proved they weren't efficient revenue generators. Here's what makes Diller so dangerous. He understood that controlling distribution and media matters more than owning properties. Why buy casinos when you can control how they're marketed, who performs there, and what prices customers expect to pay? His IAC
Sounds like a Nazi. You'll have one thing and that's it. And if you don't like it, too bad. That's right there, communism, where you have one guy and no competition, and everybody has the same menu. That's not capitalism. That's not free market. That's called communism. The government dictates exactly you're gonna drive a black car if you like it or not. You're gonna eat at this restaurant. It's the only restaurant you can eat at, and they're all the same. This is all communism. This is not free market capitalism. In free market, you do what you want. I'm going to have 800 different kinds of restaurants and hotels and everything. So they're making this very communistic, where the MGM is all, earlier they said it's all the same, right? MGM, all the MGM properties, they just made it into the same property. So they made it like one property. Very, very Nazi and very, very communistic. So this is another reason everybody's leaving. Not only is it too expensive, but it's boring. It's control. Nobody likes that here in America. We like freedom and independence. We like Austrian economics. We do not like to be told what to do, have no options, and everything's very expensive. And then the idea is, well, it's for the rich. Oh, the rich aren't going there either. So this is total bullshit. This is all communists, Nazis. That's what they're doing. I don't like how he keeps saying, well, this guy's a billionaire, and who cares? Does that make it better because he's got $10 billion that he stole from some pension fund like Warren Buffett and Madoff and Jamie Dimon? Does that make them smarter because they have money that they stole? I just question that whole, do they know more than we do because I don't have $1 billion? Am I not as smart as the guy who has $1 billion, who went to Yale, who teaches Keynesian and socialism? So I don't know. I question all this shit. I don't buy any of it. Again, I believe the real truth is the Chinese are crashing it so they can buy Caesar's Palace and that for pennies on the dollar, because these guys own it and they're charging rent, right? That's what we got out of it. They're charging rent. Okay. What happens when they can't pay the rent, which is about to happen because there's no customers? The guy with the big ball, what's he going to do when there's nobody there to go in and nobody's going to pay $400 to go in? So you have, it's all going to go broke, right? They'll all walk away, go broke. They won't collect rent. Hey, we can own houses too. Bobby wanted to do a house on the lake where he is. Not if you, good luck trying to rent it out at the price you want. So if there's no buyers in Vegas, there's not going to be anybody to pay the rent. The billionaires are going to be in trouble because they're going to have to dump the hotels because nobody's going, so they can't pay. The MGM people can't pay the rent. And if they can't pay the rent, the billionaires won't get the rent, but they paid all the money to buy it. And that's what will happen. Is there an ending to this?
His IAC empire proved Vegas could be corporatized without touching a single poker chip. Barry Diller transformed Vegas into a subdivision of American corporate entertainment. Under his influence, the city stopped being a unique destination and became just another content delivery platform optimized for maximum extraction. He proved you don't need to own Vegas to control it. You just need to own the systems that feed it. But even Diller's media manipulation pales compared to our final billionaires, the ones who've turned the entire
Let's
strip
just watch.
into their
I stopped
personal
this, so let's
ATM.
just see it again.
Number one, the private equity titans.
Did you know that linen is the only fabric that bacteria cannot thrive on? It's one of the
Nobody
reasons
cares.
Jesus.
Number one, the private equity titans, the true puppeteers, Apollo Global Management, Vici Properties, Blackstone. These aren't household names, but they're the real owners of Las Vegas. Together, these private equity firms control over $60 billion in strip assets. They don't run casinos, they own them like stock portfolios. And that transformation from entertainment destination to financial spreadsheet has finally killed what made Vegas special. Here's their playbook. Buy casino properties using borrowed money. Split the real estate from operations. Rent the buildings back to operators at crushing rates. Extract massive fees. Sell to another fund in 5 years. Repeat. In this model, you're not a guest or even a customer. You're a revenue unit whose lifetime value gets calculated against acquisition costs. Vici Properties, spun from Caesar's bankruptcy, now owns Caesar's Palace, Harrah's, Venetian, and MGM Grand's real estate. They collect $2.1 billion in annual rent. Apollo Global owns the operations of Venetian and Palazzo through a $6.4 billion deal. Blackstone owns Bellagio, Cosmopolitan, and Arias buildings. Combined, these firms control 75% of strip properties. That's not a market. That's a monopoly.
Who gives a fuck if nobody is there vacationing? Like I said, you can own it, but if there's nobody there, nobody's going to pay you rent. This is the part this guy doesn't seem to understand. Just because they own it, it's going to end up at the Chinese for pennies on the dollar because you killed all the customers. There's no way they're going to pay you rent. The operator, who are the operators? The operators, I don't have the money, I can't pay. They're going to walk away like everything else. It happens all the time. You own a Mercedes dealership, nobody's buying cars. Well, you walk away from it. That's what's going to happen. They're going to walk away. These rich guys, these billionaires who have bought all the land and assets are going to go broke because they won't get paid back. So if you send out $1 billion and you're not going to get the $1 billion back, where are they going to get the money from? And the operators are like, let's say Caesar's Palace, are not considering like the apps that people gamble on and play blackjack on at home. That's not the operator, that's those guys. So all they're doing is trying to buy something to charge rent for. And the rent's too high over market and it won't work and they'll all go broke. So fuck that. All right.
Monopoly run by spreadsheets. The human cost is staggering. When private equity owns your casino, every decision flows through Excel models. A dealer making $15 hourly looks like an expense to minimize. Free drinks become revenue leakage. Renovations get deferred because they hurt quarterly returns. These firms typically hold properties for 5 to 7 years, just long enough to extract value.
How the fuck
Never
does he
long
know?
enough to invest in long-term quality. Their innovation? Financial engineering that makes everything worse. They pioneered sale leasebacks that burden casinos with rent. They created REITs that prioritize shareholders over customers. They invented fee structures that guarantee they profit whether casinos succeed or fail. When COVID hit, these firms still collected rent while workers got fired and services disappeared. The spreadsheet empire manifests everywhere. That $25 minimum blackjack table? Algorithms determined that's optimal revenue per square foot.
Bullshit.
The $30 parking? Data showed you'll pay it anyway.
Bullshit.
The disappearing free play? And comps? Machine learning
Bullshit.
proved they weren't generating sufficient ROI. Every degraded experience traces back to a PowerPoint deck in a Manhattan boardroom. These faceless firms achieved what no individual billionaire could. They turned Vegas into pure financial abstraction. Mark Rowan, Apollo's CEO worth $6.5 billion, probably couldn't name a single Vegas dealer. John Gray, Blackstone's president worth $7.2 billion,
Communist.
likely never played a hand of blackjack with regular people. They don't need to. Their Excel models tell them everything.
Bullshit.
Required to extract maximum profit from your memories. This is how Vegas truly died. Not through one bad owner or single terrible decision, but through systematic financialization by private equity firms that see America's playground as nothing more than a yield-generating asset class.
Neuropathy is not a sentence.
See, that's all bullshit. It isn't going to work. It doesn't work like that. You can't use a spreadsheet and algorithms. And like I said, the algorithms. Could the algorithms have predicted Miami beating Buffalo yesterday? Not a chance. Because you would look at the stats and you would look at the players and you'd look at, oh, they beat KC and Miami didn't beat anybody. You could never have predicted that. You cannot predict Vegas because their models are all skewed and bad if they think they can raise prices on food and resort fees and food and liquor and everything, that they'll pay it. Nobody's going to pay it. Well, they're one-time visitors, and after they see it, they won't come back. Well, how many one-time you don't think people here don't go to Vegas? Come on. So this is bullshit. This guy, this video is a little bit retarded, very slanted, but this is what communism is. The one guy, and he tells you what you can do and what the price is, and if you don't like it, too bad, and it never works. So I don't buy any of that. I think it's true what they're doing, but it won't work. Why would you sell your, so you build a house. Why would you sell the house to pay rent in it? And then he raises the rent on you. What idiot would do that? It's just unbelievable. So I believe they pay rent, but they're not going to collect on it because with nobody there, they won't get revenue. How are you going to pay? Oh, they get $1 billion in. This sounds like it's an older video because now it's collapsed. There's nobody there. I think Titus was there for football, and he said there's nobody there. It was expensive. I'm sure he won't go back. I don't go. I went to the lake instead. So I think this is all a bunch of bullshit. Just be careful with it. So here's one on layoffs. Amazon, Boeing, McDonald's, they're laying off people. Oh, because their price is too high. And people don't have money. People have money, but, oh, by the way, this is worthless. So it takes more dollars to buy, but you're not getting more dollars. Everybody's fucked who's not in gold and silver. And the gold and silver hold their value. That's the key to it. All right, let's take a look at our gold and silver. And we'll call it a day. Gold, ooh, gold, 41.10. Here we go. Here comes 42. 41.10. Silver, 50.42. Big day for silver. So I know you worry cautiously when you see it drop, but it's a game. That's why I call it the COMEX game. It's just bullshit. It's not physical. The physical is 10 times higher. So your $50 silver is $500. And that's what you got to understand. And then you're fine. And if it drops, you buy it. This is not people selling gold because it's no good. And again, the game is this we know is worthless. So we're getting out of this into gold and silver, which you do not want to sell because then you get back into this, which is not what you want. So you got to get into you want to get into gold and silver because you want to get out of this. So your first play is get out of this before it's worthless, which it is. Then get into gold and silver and watch gold and silver go up. And you make out from it. Not only does your dollar keep value, but the value actually goes up with the gold and silver. So it's not like the dollar went to zero. We bought gold. Let's say we bought silver at $20 and it's just going to stay at 20. No, we bought it at 20. It's now 50. It's going to be 500. I give a 10-ounce bar to Alyssa and I said, it was like 300 at the time. I says, but don't sell it now. Wait. And now I tell her, oh, now it's worth $500. And she's all excited because she's making money just by holding on to a piece of silver. It's just amazing. But that's what it is. So not only are you out of the dollar going to zero and everybody's in trouble and go to Vegas and they're all going to cry. And the best part of that video I just showed you is all these billionaires are going to be worthless because the dollar is going to collapse and all their billions will be worth zero. And are they smart enough to buy gold and silver? Apparently not. They're buying hotels in Vegas on a dying market because they're raising the prices. So therefore, they're not, okay, are you smart enough to buy gold? Oh, I don't need gold. I got $1 billion. Oh, good luck. We'll see how that works. They'll all be broke. Unless they have gold and silver, they'll be broke. So the moral of the story is it's take something with value, not something without value. So you bought a bankrupt Caesar's Palace. Well, is that a good investment? It's bankrupt. Maybe you shouldn't have bought it. But if it went bankrupt, you bought it and made the guy pay rent, the operator, well, it's going to go bankrupt again because obviously you're all fucked up with your pricing. So all these guys will go broke with that. It's 2:00. All right, enough yappy. Yeah, I had the maintenance guy here for 10 minutes. I apologize for that. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to go eat and then go to the pool by 3. Have a good day, everybody. It's cold here. It snowed here. I did my walk in the freezing cold with snow. Anyway, www.teaserking.com. I did play tonight's game, and then we just looked at next week's games, and we got a lot in college that we saw, and we'll see. But anyway, good luck. Just buy your gold and silver. It's the easiest thing to not only save. So if you got money, get out of the money, buy the gold and silver, and then watch it go from 4,100 to 10,000. So you get a double kick. Right? Not only that, you got 100 grand, or let's say you got 50 grand. So you get out of this. Now you've just saved losing 50 grand. That's the point of it. And then with what you bought something with value, gold and silver, and you watch that go up. That's the point of it. And you never profit take. You never get out of the gold and silver and get back onto the fucking Titanic. You never do that. If you do that, you're fucked. Because why did you get out of it? Oh, I made profit. You made profit in dollars. The dollars are valueless. They're worthless. You think these idiots that are doing these Vegas casinos have a clue? No, not at all. If they did, they wouldn't be fucking around with Vegas casinos. They'd be buying gold and silver, sitting back and watching it go from 2,000 to 4,000. They're going to make more. It's going to go from 4 to 10. Good luck on they're not making money in the casinos. Okay, so the point is the Chinese are going to come in and buy these casinos for pennies on the dollar. They'll pay $1 million for Caesars. They're not. These are very bad investments by what they did because of the rent and these operators not knowing what they're doing, increasing costs, and then there's nobody there. Especially the Sphere guy. Who's coming to the Sphere? There's nobody there. And do I need to see the Sphere? No. But I mean, all these other MGMs making it vanilla. Nobody wants that. You're not going to get people. And once you lose the customer, then what do you have? And is the value going to go up? Or is somebody going to come and say, oh, I'll give you 10 billion for Caesars? No. Or MGM, or all those assets are going to go down. As they said, they're not fixing them up. So they hold them for 5 years. I don't know where he's getting the figure from. I don't know who he's going to sell it to in 5 years. But you have that for 5 years. The plan is you'll probably sell it to the Chinese for 1/10 of what you bought it for. So they'll all lose money. You'll see. Anyway, that's it. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Real D, Luke, Alex, thank you. I will talk to you tomorrow then. Have a nice day. All right. Take care.